Chapter 1932. Lin Chen looked around. All the guest elders of the Alchemist Guild were seated on the high platform on both sides of the stage in the form of judges. Strangely, he didn't see Gu Lingtian among the judges today. Rumble. At this moment, an unprecedentedly strong divine soul power enveloped the entire square like an inverted bowl lid. Today, I will be the host of the main assessment. Candidates, please listen to the question. A grand Tao voice came down from the sky. Everyone was shocked. This was a real big shot. An old man stood in the air with his hands clasped behind his back. He was as vast as the Milky Way and as majestic as the firmament. His divine soul had appeared. He was a high-level figure of the Alchemist Guild. I am Yun Tianlan, one of the old men in the guild. I will be the host of the main assessment today. Everyone here is no longer inexperienced. I'm sure you've come prepared. This old man will get straight to the point. The duration of this assessment is 3 months. Within 3 months, you need to refine a finished elixir. You must complete it within the time limit. You must prepare your own materials, elixir formula, and cauldron. If you can successfully refine the elixir, you will pass the assessment. In this assessment, as long as it is the alchemist's own method, you can use any method to refine the elixir. The method is free. Once the announcement was made, everyone was in an uproar. 3 months? That was too tight. For a finished elixir to be born, there were more than 100 important steps to go through. If there was a problem in one step, it could lead to a complete loss. Usually, a god-level alchemist would need several years to refine a finished elixir, and this was under the condition that the materials were sufficient. In 3 months, they could only refine the elixir formula they were most familiar with, and there couldn't be a single mistake. The god-rank alchemists participating in the main selection all revealed solemn expressions at the same time. This alchemy competition was very difficult. Why were the alchemy preliminaries and the main selection so difficult? Also, Yun Tianlan's voice contained an unquestionable majesty. Boom, boom, boom. Time and space trembled, and ripples appeared in the curved space. The strong divine soul pressure surged like a tide, turning into a mountain that pressed down on the heads of all the participating alchemists. Lin Chen immediately felt that his primordial spirit had slowed down and stagnated a little. The power of his primordial spirit seemed to be suppressed by his soul, limiting his primordial spirit power. So this is the divine soul realm. As expected of a power comparable to the laws. Lin Chen exclaimed in amazement. If it were in the three-dimensional universe, a casual wave of the divine spirit could shatter a plane and sweep across a small galaxy. Yun Tianlan said coldly, "You have to finish refining pills under the pressure of my divine soul to be considered a success. Above is the content of this assessment." As soon as he said that, many people on both sides of the seats gasped. Even Miss Qin's expression changed slightly. Changing the assessment on the spot? According to the insider information she received, there was no additional condition for the latter. Yun Tianlan was one of the high-ranking officials in the Alchemist Guild who was about to enter the Elders Guild. He was only second to the Elders Guild and the top 10 giant. His divine soul realm was far beyond that of an ordinary real god. Even Miss Qin, who was proud of her skills, didn't have 100% confidence that she could successfully refine a divine pill under the pressure of his divine soul. There are very few changes to the content of the predetermined assessment unless something unexpected happens. The high-ranking officials seem to have a new idea this time. What's going on? Miss Qin's gaze inexplicably turned to Lin Chen. If there was any new idea that could be brought to the high-ranking officials by this assessment, it could only be brought about by Lin Chen. Shangguan Yun, who was sitting in the audience, looked cold and dignified. Lin Chen, facing such difficult conditions, how are you going to reverse? Now, the assessment begins. The refining of pills will end in the morning 90 days from now. Those who succeed will officially become the guest elder of the Alchemist Guild. Yun Tianlan shouted coldly. Bang, bang, bang. The lid of the furnace was lifted. The participating alchemists didn't even have time to be shocked. After hearing the requirements, they immediately threw themselves into refining pills. A divine-level alchemist's concentration and execution in refining pills were far beyond that of ordinary people. Even though the probability of successfully passing the assessment was extremely low, no one was shaken. The only ones who had a momentary pause were the two young people, Xue Jianming and Jilan. Their talents might be powerful, but they were not as experienced as other divine-level alchemists. However, the two of them quickly adjusted their mentality and threw themselves into refining pills. On the other side, Lin Chen had already released a large amount of medicinal materials. In front of him was a bronze furnace, engraved with flying cheilants, dragons, and phoenixes. Its quality was not inferior to the other participating alchemists. Lin Chen could also guess who sponsored this and smiled knowingly. Refining pills under the pressure of the divine soul is really not a good task. Let's do our best in refining pills. With a snap of his fingers, 6 illusory divine lights descended and surrounded Lin Chen. Everyone was shocked. What a mysterious doppelganger technique. They couldn't tell the real Lin Chen from the fake. On the east stage, old monsters gathered. It's rumored that Lin Chen has a mysterious doppelganger technique that allows his doppelganger to assist the original body in refining pills? If our sect gets such a technique, won't we soar in the path of refining pills? Several old antiques on the high stage laughed strangely. Another old woman glanced at them and said indifferently, I advise you not to have these crooked ideas. The strength that this child is displaying is no small matter. If we insist on clawing at a tough bone like this kid, the other forces that want to recruit him might turn around and give us a wave of support to pull in a favor. At that time, we will become their enemies. A secluded old monster laughed loudly. What are you all thinking? This seat is talking about roping him in. Our sect has beauties like clouds. Do you think we can't take down a young and impetuous youngster? Just randomly arrange a few to make him obedient. We can have this. On the west stage, the atmosphere was cold and somber. What was different from other places was that the west stage of the Bluestone Plaza was full of fierce people from Realm C. In the front row of the west stage, a fiery and enchanting red-robed young lady laughed. What do you think of this person? The young lady's red robes were like fire. She clearly had a delicate jade face of 17 or 18 years old, but there was an enchanting and fiery charm between her brows, as if she had already experienced hundreds of battles, not like a young lady. The eagle-browed man beside her opened his eyes. He had a pitch-black broadsword on his back that was as long as his body. His pitch-black pupils were like a bottomless abyss. He said coldly, a moldable talent, upright and brave. If he enters Realm C to train, he can become an elite member of our sect. The red-robed young lady said with a smile, It seems like we have the same opinion. This young man is really not bad. She rested her chin on her hands, swinging her jade legs. Her smile was cold and sinister. He belongs to the type that I want to throw him into a sea of corpses. I wonder what kind of result he will transform into. Just as Lin Chen released his illusion doppelgangers, preparing to go all out, waves of rumbling like strange vibrations reverberated throughout Lin Chen's body. Only now did Lin Chen discover that this powerful divine soul pressure actually stimulated his Saint Point sacred power to the point of showing signs of rebounding. It was like a spring that had been bent to the extreme. The outside world was still constantly exerting pressure, and it could rebound at any time. The majestic sacred power in his Saint Point surged, and Lin Chen's pupils couldn't help but shrink. Damn, it can't be. Boom, boom, boom. 9 colored sacred lights suddenly shot up into the sky. At this moment, 160 hexagonal stars flickered all over Lin Chen's body. The sacred power in his body surged out uncontrollably, and the feeling of breaking through the shackles became even stronger. Everyone was shocked. It was impossible for them not to know this feeling. Everyone present had experienced it before. This was the phenomenon of breaking through a realm. A hint of astonishment appeared on young Lady Qin's beautiful face. This guy was actually going to explode his acupoints during the main selection of the Alchemist Guild? Shangguan Yun. I'm used to it. Chapter 1933. Crack crack. The crisp sound of an eggshell cracking rang out from within Lin Chen's body. The 161st hexagonal star was faintly emitting holy light. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. F***ck. His acupoints were going to explode? According to Lin Chen's estimation, he should at least reach the critical point of perfect advancement after participating in the main selection. How did it speed up? As if thinking of something, Lin Chen suddenly raised his head and looked at the soul power released by Yun Tianlan in the sky. It's because of the pressure of the soul. The current Lin Chen was like a spring that had been bent to the extreme. The pressure given by the soul was like the last push to start the spring, and it bounced back. Oh no, I can't push it back. I have to explode my acupoints to break through, or I'll miss the opportunity to perfect advancement. Lin Chen's primordial spirit swept across and took back all the herbs. The phantom doppelgangers surrounded Lin Chen like stars surrounding the moon. They entered a cultivation state like the main body to sense the location of the next saint acupoint. Lin Chen's accumulation had long reached a terrifying level. He had fought the gods at Blood Fox Mountain, challenged the Taichu Divine Kingdom alone, fought dozens of ancient divine beasts alone, and fought the Azura King to the death. The attribute points he had accumulated these few times had long given him the foundation to break through to a new realm. Especially after the death of the Azura King, the essence attribute brought to him directly upgraded to a new divine level essence. Lin Chen sat cross-legged and floated in the air. Holy light shone brightly, and holy power crisscrossed like flying dragons. The 9-colored vortex condensed out of thin air above his head suddenly exploded, turning into an illusory figure. 160 saint acupoints? There's such a saint? What kind of cultivation system does this kid have? It's really shocking. Breaking through to the heaven-opening realm with a sacred heart can actually cause such a phenomenon. It's true. Is this guy really going to break through here? The true gods in the 4 directions of the Bluestone Square clicked their tongues in wonder. Yun Tianlan's voice carried a trace of surprise. He discovered that his soul power was faintly unable to perfectly protect the venue. If this continued, if they allowed Lin Chen to explode his acupoints here, the other alchemists would still be affected. However, if an accident were to occur while the alchemist was concocting pills, unless the alchemist himself requested to be stopped, the Alchemist Association had no right to stop him from concocting pills. Whoosh! The illusory god's soul vanished, to be replaced by an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion. He looked down and then flicked his sleeve. His divine soul shrouded the sky once again, stabilizing the trembling divine soul barrier. The realm of the divine soul was comparable to the power of laws. Yun Tianlan personally showed up and increased the power of the divine soul. Yun Tianlan, the old monster, actually showed up in person? Lin Chen's breakthrough phenomenon actually requires him to personally step in to stabilize the situation. Looks like this breakthrough isn't ordinary. However, with this situation, the chances of this kid passing the main selection is almost zero. While everyone was discussing, only Miss Qin had a serious expression on her face. She had once thought that Lin Chen was unable to break through to the Saint Realm, and that he had reached the end of the Saint Realm. She had never thought that he would be able to advance even further. Miss Qin suddenly looked at the top of the Pill Pagoda. So she always thought that Lin Chen wouldn't stop at his current realm. However, let's see how many Saint Acupoints you can break first. If you don't become a god and control the laws, you'll never be able to step into our realm. Yun Tianlan drew a line in the air, and his divine soul radiated an extremely blue divine light, specifically isolating the energy fluctuations around Lin Chen from the entire venue. The noise outside couldn't affect Lin Chen's thoughts. There was only one thing on his mind. Perfect breakthrough, exploding acupoints. Let's put the matter of refining pills aside for now. Let's explode first. Is the main selection more important than my exploding acupoints? With his primordial spirit abnormally focused, Lin Chen took the lead, and the 6 illusory doppelgangers stabilized the rioting Saint Power. The rioting Saint Power that was like a mountain and sea prison was guided by Lin Chen all the way until he finally found the location of the 81st Saint Acupoint. After breaking through this Saint Acupoint, Lin Chen would step into the heaven-opening realm. However, Lin Chen didn't break through immediately. System: Slow Rune. The host continues to use the Slow Rune. Reminder: in the 4-dimensional universe, the Slow Rune can't be released and can only be used on the host. The rioting speed of the Saint Power slowed down, and Lin Chen calmed down completely. The Saint Power that was constantly emerging was absorbed into the 160 Saint Acupoints, and even the Tai space began to rapidly fill with more Saint Power. Why is there no sound? It's not like he was caught visiting a prostitute. Why did it stop all of a sudden? Could it be that he's dead? It looks like he's full of energy, but in fact, his potential has reached its peak and he can't break through anymore, right? Let's wait and see. While Lin Chen calmed down and condensed the Saint Power, everyone was in a heated discussion. The main alchemists had already begun to refine pills rapidly. Only Ji Lan and Xue Jiaming cast a concerned look, but they couldn't help. They could only protect themselves first. Time flew, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The earth-shattering explosion of Saint Acupoints that everyone was looking forward to did not appear. Instead, Lin Chen's power became weaker and weaker. The other alchemists had already begun to fuse deity-tier heavenly treasures, but there was no movement from Lin Chen's side. Another half a month passed. A month's time passed. The phenomenon of Lin Chen's breakthrough was almost completely gone. During this time, the fragrance of pills filled the air, and rare deity-tier herbs appeared one after another. 9 Dragon Divine Vine, Clear Ice Sea Heart, Great Earth Spirit Pith, Spirit Departing Begonia, and so on. All kinds of deity-tier heavenly treasures were refined into the purest energy by the deity-tier alchemists' miraculous alchemy skills. The fist-sized balls of energy floated in the sky, and many experts couldn't help but look at them with blazing eyes. That was the essence of deity-tier heavenly treasures refined from deity-tier heavenly treasures. If they could absorb it, they might be able to advance even further after being stagnant for so many years. Not to mention a finished deity-tier pill. Everyone's expectations for the deity-tier alchemists grew even stronger. As for the silver-robed figure in the corner, fewer and fewer people were paying attention to him. The true gods present had already seen too many geniuses wither away. In the vast deity realm, geniuses were as common as carps crossing the river. They were even a little used to it. Miss Qin stared at Lin Chen, who was sitting cross-legged in the air with his eyes closed. She shook her head and sneered. As expected, his potential has reached its peak. She could sense that Lin Chen's Saint Power fluctuations were getting smaller and smaller. Things will move in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Sure enough, as she expected, Lin Chen's potential had actually reached its peak. It would be difficult to break through any further. Even if he had accumulated enough, it would still be difficult to advance. The venue was filled with sighs. Who would have thought that Lin Chen, whom the outside world had boasted of breaking through the sky, would end up like this? Lin Chen, Lin Chen. At best, he's just an extension of a mortal. Miss Qin stood up, her beautiful face cold and full of disappointment. She had specially come down to see how Lin Chen would refine the deity Tear Pill with his gaze. Unexpectedly, not only did Lin Chen fail to refine the deity Tear Pill, he couldn't even control the sudden breakthrough. Failed to refine the deity Tear Pill and failed to break through. Nothing accomplished. Miss Qin's expectations for Lin Chen were instantly dashed. Disappointed, too disappointed. This was the man that the peerless demon empress mentioned? It was just a flash in the pan. Lin Chen's reputation had been completely ruined this time. Not only did he fail to break through, he couldn't even start the pill refinement. He had lost completely. When she stood up and left, Miss Qin coincidentally saw Shangguan Yun leaving. The two women looked at each other, and Miss Qin frowned. "You are the woman following Lin Chen?" Shangguan Yun nodded slightly. Miss Qin said indifferently, "You are also disappointed with his performance?" "No." Shangguan Yun said in all seriousness, "I will leave first." Chapter 1934. Little Qing sneaked into the passage and poked her head out, staring at the silver-robed figure in the hall. The girl secretly cheered for Lin Chen in her heart. "Prince Lin Chen, don't care about other people's opinions. Go." At the seating area, looking at Shangguan Yun's back, Miss Qin was confused for the first time. Stay away? What does that mean? After thinking about it for a while, Miss Qin shook her head and laughed. "It seems that I worried too much." Just as Miss Qin was about to leave, boom, 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 the earth shook. The sky roared. Space-time twisted. At this moment, the four-dimensional space-time was completely tilted by a terrifying force that suddenly appeared. Even if it was only for a moment, it still frightened many true gods. Except for the alchemists who participated in the main selection, who were isolated by their divine souls, the true gods in the seating area almost made a fool of themselves and sat on the ground. What kind of experience was it when the space-time nearby tilted for a moment? It was like standing on a carpet that was suddenly lifted by someone and fell head over heels. Only the girl in the dress today knew this feeling. It was sour. Yun Tianlan narrowed his eyes and stared at the nine-color aurora vortex that suddenly expanded rapidly in the sky. This is the sign of the Saint Power splitting the sky. An illusory figure emerged from the shattered nine-colored aurora vortex, standing proudly between the heavens and the earth. Everyone got up one after another, horrified. "What's going on?" "No. The entire Pill City is tilted." Miss Qin, who almost lost her balance, was forced to mobilize her divine soul to stabilize herself. "What happened?" Miss Qin's cold and beautiful face showed a hint of astonishment. She suddenly looked back and saw Lin Chen in the corner shining with Saint Power. The 161st hexagonal star, like the polar star in the sky, was slowly condensing and coming into being. At this moment Lin Chen suddenly opened his eyes. Divine light bloomed in his pupils, and his inextinguishable fighting spirit was like the birth of a wild dragon. Finally, all the essence attributes have been converted into Saint Power. It's time to release it all at once. Lin Chen's fighting spirit was like a burning flame, eternal and undying. The more it burned, the more vigorous it became. He suddenly changed his hand gesture and started to practice his mental cultivation method. 160 saint acupoints lit up at the same time. The restriction of the slowing rune was suddenly lifted, and the 6 illusionary clones, together with the main body, drew the boundless saint force and crashed into the 81st saint point. Bang! This collision was like the reversal of the sun and moon. It was as if the saint power had broken through the heavens. This shock caused the expressions of all the gods to change. The dazzling 9-colored holy light contained the 5 elements of metal: wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, and darkness. It constantly revolved around Lin Chen like a holy mist. Lin Chen's saint energy had a flawless feel to it. The 81st saint point had been perfectly opened. The greater one's potential, the more one's accumulation would be, and the more one's heaven-opening Saint Acupoint would increase their Saint Chi. This time, Lin Chen's 81st Saint Point alone had increased his Saint energy by 50 million venerable force. One had to know that when Lin Chen used the God Slayer, innate skill in the lower realm, with Lin Chen's potential, he was only able to temporarily enter the heaven-opening realm. The increase in Saint energy was only about 6 million venerable Qi, but now it had soared to 50 million. Moreover, this 50 million venerable force was born together with the Tai time and space. It could increase one's mental cultivation method and talent. Just one Saint Point alone increased his Saint energy by 50 million venerable force? No, the power of his breakthrough just now was far more than 50 million venerable force. There's more. This is just the beginning. The momentum of his breakthrough will be stronger and stronger. While the gods were exclaiming, Yun Tianlan immediately waved his finger horizontally. The Azure Divine Soul power once again strengthened the Divine Soul enchantment and protected the VIP platform. Rumble. Bang. 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 Lin Chen's 82nd Saint Point was opened. It shook the heavens. The entire venue, no, the entire Pill City was shaken. The Alchemist Guild was facing such a strong impact for the first time. Even an old monster like Yun Tianlan couldn't help but be moved. The power of this kid's breakthrough is too terrifying. Compared to him, the saints I've seen before are like babies fighting. He's like a god on earth. The saint energy surged wildly and was unstoppable. Lin Chen's new bright hexagonal starlight surged with magnificent and majestic saint energy. With a thought, he could split open the sky and sink mountains and rivers. The 82nd Saint Point increased his Saint energy by 80 million venerable force. The show has only just begun. Lin Chen roared like a dragon. 83rd Saint Point, open for me. Whoosh. Bang. In the 9-colored vortex, a mushroom cloud of energy shot up into the sky. The 83rd Saint Point shone brightly and increased his Saint energy by 120 million venerable force. It wasn't over yet. As if it was just the prelude to a storm, Lin Chen's power was unstoppable. The light in his eyes became stronger and stronger. 2 dragon roars rang out as the 84th and 85th Saint Acupoints were broken open. The 84th Saint Point increased his Saint energy by 180 million venerable force. The 85th Saint Point increased his Saint energy by 250 million venerable force. All the veteran true gods sucked in a breath of cold air. The Saint energy of a heaven-opening realm Saint Point was comparable to that of a true god. How the F***CK did this look like he had exhausted his talent and foundation? He was so strong that he didn't look human at all. Good Lord, it seemed like he had been preparing for this all along. With such a strong foundation, no wonder he dared to challenge the Azura King. He was simply a monster in human form. This kind of fighting spirit was outstanding even among the true gods. The 6 illusionary doppelgangers stood beside Lin Chen at the same time as if they were telepathic. They had been waiting for a long time. The doppelgangers mobilized their saint energy and rushed forward. Boom, boom, boom. Like fireworks blooming under the Milky Way, Lin Chen alone became the most dazzling star. Lin Chen's 86th, 87th, and 88th Saint Points were opened. The Saint Light shone on the Pill City, and the Saint Light covered the sky. The increase in Saint energy from the 3 Saint Points was even more terrifying. They were 380 million, 500 million, and 650 million venerable force respectively. This wave of exploding. No, this wave of exploding Saint Points is too strong. This old man is willing to recruit this kid into my sect at all costs. Even if he joins the Eternal Giants, this kid will still have a place in our sect. Let's take this opportunity to pull him into our sect. The ugly ones are still hesitating. The handsome ones have already gone back to call their disciples over to seduce him. Let's use the honey trap first. The true gods of various forces were amazed. Young Mistress Qin stared at Lin Chen's side profile in a daze. Her cold and beautiful side profile was filled with unconcealable shock. How far could he go? However, just when everyone thought that it was over, Lin Chen's hand seals changed again. All the doppelgangers and his main body started to circulate their heart sutra together. How can the complete heaven-opening realm be my peak, Lin Chen? Open for me, Brother Chen. At this moment, the ground of Pill City shook again. Bang! Bang! Two furious explosions resounded through the sky. Lin Chen's last two heaven-opening realm saint points were opened. The saint energy released by the last two saint points was enough to make even the true gods tremble in fear. The 88th saint point, 850 million venerable force saint energy. The 90th saint point, 1 billion venerable force saint energy. Lin Chen had stepped into the complete heaven-opening realm. Yi Qinggu, who was at the top of the pill tower, smiled when she saw this scene. Auntie, he will come to see you soon. Chapter 1935. What's going on? What's going on? I just pulled it out, but I'm already thrown off my feet. Didn't they say that Pill City was very safe? My brothers were so scared that they retreated. Pill City was in chaos. The sudden commotion made many people who were working, refining pills, or in seclusion come out of seclusion and look around. However, only a few people were unaware of the situation. Most people were focused on the scene of the main selection. When Lin Chen's acupoint exploded, it had alarmed many people. Lin Chen is too strong. He broke through 10 heaven-opening saint acupoints in a row and jumped from the perfected Sacred Heart to the perfected heaven-opening realm. I've never seen such a terrifying acupoint explosion. The most monstrous thing is that every time he breaks through a saint acupoint, his foundation is far greater than the previous one. It's too abnormal. Quick, draw this scene quickly. Write it into a book and write it as a novel. It will definitely sell well. Amazing, too amazing. This main selection is full of ups and downs. It's too exciting. Lin Chen's performance instantly set off a storm in the entire city. In the Bluestone Plaza, Shang Guanyun, who was hiding in the back row, let out a sigh of relief. Young Miss Qin suddenly turned to look at her and said in surprise, "You already knew?" Shang Guanyun shook her head. "I didn't know. I only know that every time he causes trouble, he doesn't play by the rules. Fortunately, I dodged quickly." Young Miss Qin's eyes flickered. "Doesn't play by the rules." Suddenly, the two women were stunned. As if realizing something, the two women looked at Lin Chen at the same time. Almost at the same time, the heated discussion and noise in the plaza quieted down. Everyone stared at Lin Chen stiffly. 9-colored holy light rose. Lin Chen sat cross-legged in the void. His hand seals were not undone, and a total of 180 hexagonal stars shone brightly. His eyes were closed again at some point, and he was still with his doppelganger. He floated in the void, and his saint chi rippled, shaking the space. Lin Chen's heaven-opening saint acupoints could be said to have been stimulated to the extreme. They were perfect and flawless, and each saint acupoint emitted an eternal holy light. However, everyone was stunned. It can't be. At this moment, Lin Chen still hadn't ended his cultivation state? What did this mean? This meant that his breakthrough was not over yet. After perfectly advancing to the peak of the heaven-opening stage, could it be that he could still advance a step further? Even an old monster as strong as Yun Tianlan couldn't help but lose his composure. He opened his mouth wide and said in astonishment, "With such a solid foundation, breaking through to the next realm should be even more difficult. Just how much has he accumulated?" Yun Tianlan shook his head and exclaimed. It was shocking. Breaking through the 10 saint acupoints of the heaven-opening realm was not enough for a perfect breakthrough, and he still wanted to take another step forward? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, even God would have found it hard to believe. Young Lady Qin was stunned. Her beautiful eyes trembled slightly as she muttered to herself as if she was in a dream. As expected, he doesn't play by the rules. He actually wants to go one step further? Staring at the number of saint points flickering on Lin Chen's body, Miss Qin's expression changed from shock to solemnity. Her expression seemed to have solidified, and she became even more serious. The more he thought about it, the more terrifying it became. That's not right. If we calculate according to the saint energy obtained from breaking through to the next realm, Lin Chen's saint energy should be around 40 desolate force. 1 desolate force. After reaching the peak of strength, the human race, whose pure strength was comparable to the primordial divine beasts, usually used desolate force as a unit of measurement. 100 million venerable force was equivalent to 1 desolate force. The pure strength of the desolate force was as strong as God energy. If they were to calculate according to the previous acupoint explosion, Lin Chen's saint energy should be around 40 desolate force. But why was the saint energy he released now far more oppressive than 40 desolate force? Looking at the number of saint points flickering on Lin Chen's body, Miss Qin thought of a terrifying possibility. In the Bluestone Square, Ji Taizong, Xiao Ruoyu, and the other god-level alchemists couldn't help but look at Lin Chen in shock. As god-level alchemists, they knew very well that the stronger a saint's foundation was, the more bottlenecks they would encounter when breaking through to the next realm. It was the first time they had seen a genius saint like Lin Chen, who could rival a true god with just 1 saint point in the heaven-opening realm. With such a terrifying accumulation and foundation, breaking through 10 acupoints in a row was already heaven-defying. He wanted to go further? They didn't even dare to think about it. Holy clouds rose and swirled like a whirlwind, revolving around Lin Chen and setting him off. The saint energy of the 6 illusionary clones gradually synchronized with Lin Chen's cultivation, consuming a large amount of rune energy. Lin Chen never stopped breaking through to the next realm. His goal this time was not to reach the peak of the heaven-opening realm. After the battle between the Absolute Beginning Divine Kingdom and the Azura King, I have a rough idea of the gap between true gods. Just my current cultivation is not enough. Lin Chen focused on circulating his mental cultivation method. His saint energy turned into a surging river that flowed in the Tai space and saint points. The saint energy of 10 heaven-opening realm saint points was equivalent to 4,060,000,000 venerable force. Furthermore, with the support of the Tai heaven concealing technique and the talent effect of the supreme god possession, Lin Chen's saint energy cultivation had increased by 23 billion venerable force after breaking through 10 saint points. Including the saint energy foundation of the Sacred Heart realm, it exceeded 21.7 billion venerable force. 21.7 billion venerable force was 217 desolate power. The current Lin Chen could easily crush an early-stage 3rd-level divine realm expert. He was comparable to a mid-stage 3rd-level true god. If he were to fight with the Absolute Beginning Divine Kingdom again, even if he didn't use the Golden Battle God set, he would still be able to fight against them. Lin Chen's battle prowess had directly soared to the level of a deity. His combat strength had jumped from early-stage 2nd-level Divine Realm to early-stage 3rd-level Divine Realm. However, this was still not enough. This saint energy was unable to shake a 4th-level Divine Realm expert. And against a true god who controlled the laws, it was far from enough. The further one went in the true god realm, the greater the gap. There was even a huge gap between every small realm. 1st-level Divine Realm was roughly 1 to 10 desolate power, and 2nd-level Divine Realm was 11 to 50 desolate power. 3rd-level True God was 60 to 500 desolate power. Similarly, a mid-stage 3rd-level True God could completely suppress an early-stage 3rd-level True God. Unless the latter's cultivation technique, divine artifact, ultimate skill, trump card, and other special methods were extremely strong, It was almost impossible to fight against someone of a higher level. In a one-on-one situation, Lin Chen's current pure saint energy cultivation could fight against a mid-stage third-level true god. But against a late-stage third-level true god, it was unknown, unless he used his doppelgangers or other trump cards. This was the terror of the true god realm. Even if there was a gap between every small realm, there was still a huge gap. This was far from Lin Chen's goal. Time seemed to have fallen silent again. It was frozen to the extreme. Lin Chen's saint energy seemed to have hidden its sharpness as it retracted back into his body, brewing an even more terrifying storm. A month's time passed in the blink of an eye. The other god-level alchemists were getting more and more powerful, but Lin Chen's movements were getting smaller and smaller. However, no one dared to underestimate him. After all, no one could predict what Lin Chen would do in the next second. Chapter 1936. In the last month, Pill City fell into a strange silence. Everyone was paying close attention to the pill refinement competition this time. Those who were present had their eyes fixed on their targets, while those who weren't present had their eyes fixed on the light screen in the sky above the pill tower. Not only Lin Chen, but there were also people who were paying attention to the descent of the divine pill. If a divine pill could be refined under such difficult conditions, this year's main selection would become a story for the next 100 years. Some forces in the Realm C were paying attention to Lin Chen's every change, fearing that they would miss any detail. On the 85th day of the main selection, something finally appeared. Qi. A violent explosion sounded. First, Ji Taizong's embryonic pill shook and produced a wave of energy ripples. Rumble. The energy of the divine pill swept over like a wave. It was constantly rampaging, and the spirit of the divine pill completely disappeared. Ji Taizong shook his head. Under the pressure of the divine soul, condensing the embryonic pill will also become extremely difficult. With a flick of his sleeve, Ji Taizong put away the broken embryonic pill. After the refinement of the divine pill failed, although it couldn't become a finished divine pill, it could still retain about 30% of the original medicinal effect. Its value was still extremely high. After Ji Taizong put the pill furnace into the destiny plant pouch, he turned around and cupped his fists to the distinguished guests around him. The expressions of the various true god powerhouses were solemn. Even a veteran divine alchemist like Ji Taizong couldn't succeed. It could be seen how difficult this time's main selection test was. Perhaps there really wouldn't be a single alchemist selected to become a guest elder. Bang! A loud explosion attracted everyone's attention. It was Xue Jianming. Green smoke rose from his pill furnace. He knelt on one knee, and sword intent filled the sky. Xue Jianming was sweating profusely. The divine pill floating in the pill furnace dimmed. Another one failed. Is this the end for me? It wasn't easy to borrow Brother Lin Chen's help, but I couldn't fight for the right to become a main elder. When Xue Jianming's eyes dimmed, a burst of applause sounded in the square. This young man is really amazing. He used his sword intent to resist the pressure of the divine soul for so long, and he can still refine the embryonic pill. I heard that he used to follow Lin Chen? My goodness, Lin Chen's eyes are truly sharp. His name is Xue Jianming? If there's a chance, we must recruit him. He's also a dark horse. Numerous seniors on the limestone square couldn't help but exclaim with admiration, and some even sent voice transmissions to Xue Jianming, causing Xue Jianming to be stunned for a moment before he pulled himself together once more. To be able to refine a divine-grade embryonic pill in such a difficult environment, Xue Jianming's strength was evident. It already represented his achievements and ability. He bowed slightly to the seniors around the square, put away the embryonic pill, and left. Before he left, Xue Jianming looked worriedly at Lin Chen, who was still restraining his aura. Then, in the next few crucial days, strange things happened one after another. Xiao Ruoyu, Old Man Blue Flame, and the other divine-rank alchemists had failed one after another. This unexpected yet reasonable situation caused countless people to sigh. Not a single one of those god-rank alchemists, whose names shook the world for all eternity, actually succeeded. On the 89th day, there were only 2 figures left in the square. I didn't expect that this little girl is also a dark horse not inferior to Lin Chen. Jilan. Well, I've never heard of this name before, let alone know the power behind her. The elders of the Alchemist Guild were discussing animatedly. Yun Tianlan stared at the petite figure who was still persevering. Her delicate shoulders seemed to be too fragile to stand up to the wind, but there was a kind of perseverance that could carry the world. In the final step of condensing the embryonic pill, Jilan's divine soul could no longer be hidden. This little girl's divine soul was second only to Yun Tianlan's by a hair's breadth. Yun Tianlan suddenly said, "It seems that she's very likely to be the divine son who came out to experience." Jilan might become the only alchemist who passed the examination in this round of alchemy. And Lin Chen's defeat was already set. Alchemists were choosing to explode acupoints, so there wasn't enough time. Everyone was concerned about what realm Lin Chen could finally advance to. As for whether he could refine a divine-grade pill and pass the selection, his defeat was already set. There was only a little more than a day left. Refining a divine-grade pill? There wasn't even enough time to refine a 9th-grade divine pill. Would Lin Chen come out of seclusion first, or would Jilan come out of seclusion first? While everyone was looking forward to the result, boom, boom, boom. Pill City shook, and the curved spacetime shook again. The sky and the earth shook. The corner of Yun Tianlan's mouth twitched slightly. This guy was going to do it again. Yun Tianlan didn't dare to underestimate him anymore. He formed a seal with both hands, and the net-like azure divine soul covered the entire venue. This time, Miss Qin stood in the front row of the high platform and said in a low voice, "He's going to break through again." Lin Chen suddenly opened his eyes, and the divine light burst out. He happened to meet Miss Qin's gaze in front of the high platform. Lin Chen raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. His confident smile made Miss Qin's heart palpitate inexplicably. Azura King Lin Chen, I, Lin Chen, will accept this great gift. A nebula-like aurora swirled around Lin Chen, and the shadow standing behind him became more and more visible. It was a vision caused by the Tai sky concealing technique. 91st Divine Acupoint, open! There was a clear cry. This time, there wasn't any earth-shattering power, but it erupted with a terrifying pressure as if the gods had descended. Boom! The 91st Divine Acupoint in Lin Chen's brain opened. Lin Chen had stepped into the realm of a First Revolution sage. When a First Revolution sage's divine power opened the divine acupoint in the brain, the divine power connected with the primordial spirit, and the cultivator's consciousness and reaction speed skyrocketed. No, it was far more than that. The 92nd, 93rd, and 94th divine acupoints were opened with irresistible force. Fourth Revolution? No, Fifth Revolution sage. 5 acupoints opened consecutively. That's too domineering. This time, he broke through 5 small realms. It's not over yet. His momentum is like a rainbow, and there's no possibility of him stopping. The eyes of the true gods became brighter and brighter. Even the group of cold-blooded true gods in the realm C showed signs of excitement for the first time. Damn it, after so many years, this was the first time they saw a sage so excited after breaking through. From the First Revolution Saint to the 9th Revolution Saint, every time a Saint acupoint was opened, other than the increase in the cultivator's consciousness and reaction speed, it would also increase the total amount of Saint power by 10%. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Holy light shone brightly, and divine brilliance illuminated the world. Lin Chen's brain released a terrifying divine power storm, causing every true god present to palpitate. The divine power was like the birth of a raging dragon, and it rushed to the 95th to 99th divine acupoint in a series. Boom! Around Lin Chen, divine brilliance burned like the sun and moon hanging in the sky, shining brilliantly. 198 hexagonal stars hung around Lin Chen like stars, and every divine acupoint emitted divine power as deep as the sea. An inch of divine power could move the sea, and 10 feet of divine brilliance could split open the sky. Host has broken through to the 9th revolution sage realm. Divine power is nourishing the primordial spirit realm. Host has received 1 divine level spiritual power. The Lin Chen's spiritual power attribute increased rapidly. When he opened the 91st to 99th divine acupoint, the divine power would replenish his spiritual power and primordial spirit through the divine acupoint in his brain. In addition to Lin Chen's spiritual awakening, his consciousness and primordial spirit realm had a heaven-defying leap. 9th revolution sage, unconcealable shock appeared on Miss Qin's cold and beautiful face. She had thought that Lin Chen's potential had reached the peak, but she had not expected him to leap from the 8th stage sage realm to the 9th revolution sage realm in one go. He had used absolute facts to fiercely counter all her doubts. Lin Chen smiled playfully. "Do you think it's over?" Miss Qin was stunned. She looked at his deep eyes and frivolous face. Chapter 1937. You think this is the end? Not only young Mistress Qin, but all the true gods present froze on the spot. Young Mistress Qin recalled Shang Guanyun's words, "He never plays by the rules." Lin Chen laughed mockingly. "This isn't an ordinary trick, but this trick is the same." The 6 illusionary clones suddenly opened their eyes. The saint power in their brains gathered together and rushed toward their glabella. Crack! The crisp sound of an eggshell cracking sounded, as if it symbolized the breaking of a new life. Lin Chen opened his arms and laughed heartily. "In my name, I call you a Saint King." Lin Chen's glabella suddenly shone with a dazzling saint light, and a hexagonal star split open. Boom! The 198 saint acupoints around Lin Chen's body increased once again, and 2 dazzling hexagonal stars slowly took shape. 200 saint points. At that moment, all the true gods present were shocked. The hexagonal star shining on Lin Chen's glabella had a flawless saint power that was close to perfection. Saint King. Lin Chen had finally entered the Saint King stage. If it were an ordinary Saint King, the other true gods wouldn't even look at him. However, Lin Chen was a monster. This was a saint point, a humanoid monster comparable to a true god. He's too monstrous. When he was at the perfected Saint Heart level 8, he already had the battle prowess of an early stage level 2 true god. Now that he's entered the Saint King stage, he's crossed 2 major realms. What level can his battle prowess reach? No, you're focusing on the wrong thing. The important thing is not his battle prowess, but his potential. Countless monstrous geniuses have displayed heaven-defying talents in the saint realm, but they always died prematurely on the path to becoming a true god. Lin Chen's acupoint explosion this time shows that he has a strong foundation, and his aura is strong. There's no sign of his potential at all. He can still go further. If such a person becomes a true god, he might become a super powerhouse in the future. The various true deities had sharp eyes. With a single glance, they saw through Lin Chen's future possibilities. No one could imagine just how monstrous his battle prowess was. Now was the time to place their bets. Whether he would be an enemy or a friend in the future, he had to decide now. The last trace of arrogance on Miss Qin's beautiful face was shattered. Her gaze inexplicably looked in the direction of the pill tower's upper echelons. No wonder the peerless demon empress trusted him so much. The Saint King realm was unparalleled in the world. Who would have thought that the Azura King's divine essence would be so vast after his death? Even after perfectly advancing to the heaven-opening stage, there was still more than half of it. While Lin Chen was amazed, He looked inside his body's Saint Acupoint and Tai space. He released a strand of Saint power that was as powerful as the sun, the moon, and the stars. It was enough to crush mountains and oceans in the four-dimensional space. Without a doubt, this Saint energy was comparable to a level 3 true God or above. Even in the sacred boundary, there were probably not many Saint Kings who could be compared to Lin Chen since ancient times. First, the 9th transformation realm. The total Saint power has increased by 90%, and this Saint King Saint Acupoint, ordinary 9th transformation saints needed to accumulate Saint power to become a half-step Saint King and accumulate enough to break through the 100th Saint Acupoint. In terms of pure power, it was 500,000 venerable power to 990,000 venerable power. After accumulating more than 1 million venerable power, one could be called a Saint King. But Lin Chen's foundation was far beyond this standard. His Saint Acupoint had long surpassed the opportunity to break through to the Saint King realm. Therefore, Lin Chen's 100th Saint Acupoint did not have a bottleneck. As long as he reached the 9th transformation Saint realm, he could automatically step into the Saint King realm. Lin Chen calculated in his heart. His fingertip touched the hexagonal star between his eyebrows, and the Saint light retracted into his body. The realms above the true God realm are really terrifying. Lin Chen sighed from the bottom of his heart. I can't believe that after breaking through so many Saint Acupoints, I still can't get close to the true God realm. Everyone. Upon hearing his sigh, all the gods present were puzzled. F***ck. Are you still human? Listen, is this something a human can say? You want to catch up with the true God realm at the Saint King realm? Then if you become a god, won't no one in the divine realm be able to stop you, Lin Chen? Why don't you ride the wind and fly 90,000 miles into the sky? My friend, does my father know? We're all speaking the same language, why can't I understand? Today, I've redefined the concept of the Saint King realm. A Saint King wants to catch up with the true God realm. I don't think I'm dreaming. How can I hear such a ridiculous thing? Ridiculous, too ridiculous. The gods were so angry that they almost laughed at Lin Chen. Should they call him crazy or ignorant? But the most ridiculous thing was that he had such a crazy foundation. Although Shangguan Yun expected that Lin Chen would not play by the rules, she did not expect him to be so heaven-defying. How long has he been in the sacred boundary? At that time, he was only at the perfected 7th Heaven Sage realm. After the battle at Bloodfox Mountain, he broke through to the perfected 8th Heaven Sage realm. Now, he has broken through to the perfected 9th Heaven Sage realm. He even broke through the 9th Refinement Saint stage and reached the Saint King realm. Shangguan Yun could not help but sigh. It's really as he said. His cultivation has soared all the way. Shangguan Yun could not imagine how strong Lin Chen was now. Even if she removed the restrictions of her cultivation after her cultivation technique reached perfection, she would not be able to match his battle prowess, right? In the 9th Refinement Saint stage, apart from the enhancement of the brain region, every 9th Refinement Saint stage would bring about a 10% increase in the heaven opening realm. The 9th Refinement Saint stage was 90%, and the difference of 10% would be doubled. Lin Chen's heaven opening realm Saint stage had 203 desolate power, and the 9th Refinement Saint stage was Lin Chen's real cultivation. Including the effects of his cultivation technique and talent, the 90% increase in Saint stage power was 4.5 times. Saint stage power was equivalent to 913 desolate power. Sacred Heart Realm Perfection and Heaven Opening Realm Perfection, 217 desolate power. 9th Refinement Saint Stage Cultivation, 913 desolate power. In theory, Lin Chen's total Saint Stage power could exceed 1130 desolate power. But Saint Stage power was just cultivation. Real combat was not as simple as that. It depended on actual combat. A third-tier divine realm's divine power was between 61 desolate power and 500 desolate power. Above that was half a step into the fourth-tier divine realm. Divine power was between 501 desolate power and 999 desolate power. And from the early stage to late stage fourth-tier divine realm, divine power was between 1,000 desolate power and 4,000 desolate power. As for true gods who controlled the laws, based on Lin Chen's battle with the Azura King and his experience of using the war god's spear in the absolute beginning divine kingdom, a true god who controlled the laws could unleash the power of 10,000 desolate power with just a casual attack. If this was in the three-dimensional universe, a true god who controlled the laws would be at the level of a creator. In short, with Lin Chen's current cultivation, in a one-on-one situation, he could fight an early-stage fourth-tier true god. The heavenly realm was vast. Who dared to say that they had seen all of history? But at least, from the perspective of everyone present, no one had seen a holy king who could be on par with a fourth-tier true god. Phew, no matter what, it's a perfect advancement. Lin Chen smiled and said, "I'll just make do with it." Everyone, make do with your ass? If you call this make do, then wouldn't we have hung ourselves back then? Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, the slender Ji-Lan's shoulders trembled. The divine soul power controlled by her fingertips shook violently. The embryonic pill failed at the last moment of its completion. The pill furnace exploded. Fortunately, the divine soul power protected her body, and she was not hurt. Everyone was in an uproar. Unexpectedly, the biggest dark horse in the pill refinement competition, Ji-Lan, also failed. Many true gods looked at Yun Tianlan one after another, as if blaming him for setting such difficult questions. This pill refinement competition broke the history of the past and became a swan song. No one passed? Only Lin Chen in the hall smiled playfully. Shangguan Yun's eyes lit up when she saw the smile on his face. Chapter 1938. Lin Chen looked around, and only then did he realize that there were a large number of spiritual energy light balls nearby. They were all left over after the god-level alchemists went all out to refine pills. Every attribute light ball was a god-level mentality attribute. The quality was so high that Lin Chen's eyes lit up. Among the opponents that Lin Chen encountered previously, only the Azura King's mentality was slightly higher than Lin Chen's. Those whose mentality was lower than Lin Chen's would rarely drop attribute light balls. And Lin Chen's essence soul realm had long surpassed those of the same level, so it was very rare for him to encounter a drop of mentality. But the main team was different. Other than Shuijianming, the other alchemists were all at the divine soul realm. The strength of the divine soul was enough to be on par with the existence of laws. At this level, refining pills with all their might would cause an extremely valuable mentality attribute to drop. What? Why didn't Lin Chen often go to the place where the god-level alchemists refined pills to look for attribute light balls? Faced with this question, Lin Chen almost didn't need to consider it and directly rejected it. Which god-level alchemist wasn't a big shot? Which one wasn't a big shot? Usually they were elusive. If one wasn't a main team member of the Alchemist Association, it was extremely difficult to meet a god-level alchemist. If they refined pills, how could they allow others to easily know the location of the pill refinement? Moreover, when they were refining pills, they could also invite top experts to protect them. How could they be so easy to find? So Lin Chen chose to go to the Alchemist Association to find the possibility of breaking through to the essence soul realm. It was all for this moment. On the high platform, when she heard Lin Chen's previous sigh, Miss Qin was moved. He actually wants to approach a true god of laws as a saint. Miss Qin was shocked and had mixed feelings. Although she didn't see Lin Chen's attitude when he challenged to refine pills, she saw his powerful and subversive side. Qin Shuangjue, who had always been able to see through men's minds, saw through Lin Chen again and again. In fact, Lin Chen had subverted her understanding several times. What she thought of as Lin Chen's limit was just the starting line in Lin Chen's eyes. What a pity, what a pity! Yun Tianlan shook his head and sighed. In the last 3 minutes of solidifying elixir, my mind was shaken and I was distracted. At the last moment, he was confused for a moment and missed the best moment to condense the core. One wrong step and the whole game was lost. Yun Tianlan stared at Ji Lan's petite back. Although this little girl is unusually focused when she enters the state of alchemy, and her talent is even more exceptional, she still lacks experience in the end. With the sharp eyes of these old monsters, they could roughly estimate that Ji Lan's age was even as young as Lin Chen. To step into the divine soul realm at such a young age, just the strength of his divine soul was comparable to Law's. It was obvious how terrifying Ji Lan's background was. He even dared to let a little girl like her wander the world without worry. In everyone's eyes, Ji Lan's performance was even more terrifying than Lin Chen's in terms of background and power. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Ji Lan pursed her lips, tears welling up in her snowy eyes. Don't be discouraged. At this time, Lin Chen transmitted his voice. Ji Lan was stunned. Lin Chen smiled and said, "Your hesitation in alchemy comes from your lack of confidence. You have a lot of experience in alchemy, but you lack confidence and courage in alchemy in different environments. Compared with alchemy skills, you should improve your determination and courage in alchemy." Ji Lan's beautiful eyes twinkled as she stared at Lin Chen. "Really, brother Lin Chen," Lin Chen nodded and said with a playful smile, "if you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you next." "Prove?" Ji Lan was stunned. "Prove it next? How could he prove it? Did brother Lin Chen want to wait until the end of the main selection to teach her?" Finally, Yun Tianlan and the elders exchanged a few glances, communicated with each other through telepathy, and then stood up. Yun Tianlan said loudly, "At present, all the main alchemists who participated in alchemy failed. There is no need to discuss it further. I hereby announce the end of the main selection." "Wait!" Suddenly, the young man's calm voice echoed in the sky, decisively interrupting Yun Tianlan's speech. Everyone looked over and saw Lin Chen floating in the air with a fanatical smile on his handsome face. Miss Qin stood up slightly and narrowed her eyes. What did he want to do? Lin Chen asked, "Elders, may I ask how much time is left until the end of the main selection alchemy?" In the elders group, the charming and enchanting elder Lu frowned and answered for Yun Tianlan, 4 hours a day. Yun Tianlan said, "Lin Chen, what do you want to do?" Lin Chen said, "Elder, you said that all the alchemists failed. May I ask, did I fail?" Everyone was stunned. "Aren't you just spouting unnecessary nonsense? You didn't fail because you didn't even have time to fail. You used all the time to break through the realm. There was only 1 day left. Could you *CK the sky in such a short time? What was the difference between this and failure?" Yun Tianlan frowned and said, "According to the rules and the wishes of the alchemists, you didn't fail, but in terms of time, you've already finished." "No." Lin Chen's smile was light and gentle, but it was frightening to the soul. "It's not over yet. Even after seeing despair, it's only over when you give up. I'm still standing here. Do you see me giving up?" Yun Tianlan asked, "You want to continue refining? Why?" Lin Chen clenched his fist and placed it in front of his chest. "Because others don't know how powerful the Dark Horse organization is." Bang! Lin Chen stomped his foot and the furnace rose, burning with divine light. The 6 illusionary doppelgangers stood proudly beside Lin Chen like heavenly guardians. "I, Lin Chen, will refine until the last moment." Lin Chen held up his hands, and the 6 phantom doppelgangers waved their hands. The plant pouch of Providence opened, and a large number of high-level herbs appeared like twinkling stars. Everyone was shocked. He still wanted to refine? What a joke! What did he think the divine pill was? Refining the divine pill in one day? Even Miss Qin Shuangjue, who was known as the youngest elder in the history of the Alchemist Guild, almost lost her voice. It's impossible. There's no technique in the world that can refine the divine pill in one day. The divine pill is ranked in the 9th level, and its steps are as complicated as a saint breaking into the divinity. It's not something that can be done in a few days. Even an old antique like Yun Tianlan couldn't understand what Lin Chen was doing. Elder Lu frowned and said, "Elder Tianlan, this." Yun Tianlan raised his hand. "Let's wait and see. Anyway, we don't need this last day." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The heavenly materials and earthly treasures were like flowing lights, dancing in the sky. Ji Lan stared blankly at Lin Chen's back, as if he hadn't wavered from the beginning to the end. Mysterious dragon vine, 1,000 snow ice lotus, rainbow phoenix fruit, 10,000 years blood condensed milk, polar ice dragon eyes, divine beast cores, and so on. Lin Chen's phantom doppelgangers withstood the divine soul pressure and refined a large number of top-notch 8th-level herbs and divine beast cores rapidly. Boom, boom, boom. The space shook, and the ancient seal with orange light covered the stars and the moon, floating in the sky. The domineering 8 desolation and 6 compatible seal floated in the void. Even though Lin Chen hadn't cultivated the power of divine wilderness, it was still breathtaking and shocking. Many alchemists felt their scalps tingle. Lin Chen had perfectly mastered the top orange alchemy handprint. No, it should be said that Lin Chen and all his doppelgangers had perfectly mastered the top orange alchemy handprint. The doppelgangers can refine pills with such precision? It's exactly the same as the real body, without any stagnation. So fast, so fast. The steps of refining the herbs are divided into many parts and completed by several doppelgangers at the same time. Could it be that there's hope? No, it's not enough. It's far from enough. Although Lin Chen's primordial spirit is very powerful and is more than 10 times stronger than any perfected primordial spirit, it's still not a divine soul. It's a huge burden to refine pills under the pressure of Old Man Yun's divine soul. That's right. Even if he can maintain his current efficiency or even reach a higher level, with 6 doppelgangers and the real body, he'll still need more than 2.5 months. And that's under the premise that there are no mistakes. It's hard to imagine that there won't be any mistakes when refining pills with his doppelgangers. There's no possibility of a comeback. A group of old true gods started a heated discussion for the first time. They couldn't even imagine that there was any possibility of a comeback with Lin Chen's actions. He wanted to refine a divine pill in a day? This idea was too crazy. It was so crazy that it was a challenge to the entire alchemy world and the history of alchemists. It was impossible to succeed. Qin Shuangjue clenched her fists. She didn't understand why Lin Chen would use such an action to challenge alchemy. It was obviously impossible. However, just as everyone was discussing, a beam of green light appeared in the sky and turned into a pair of divine wings. At this moment, everyone fell silent. In the venue, Lin Chen wore the wings of wind and the armor of wind on his left and right sides as he stepped into the air. Every step he took was like a river flowing on the ground, and a divine wind suddenly appeared. Lin Chen smiled slightly, overflowing with arrogance. "I have an ultimate technique. I'm willing to borrow 3 inches of divine wind to refine the world." Chapter 1939. The system screen flickered crazily, and the rainbow-like divine wind turned into a whirlwind that lifted Lin Chen up. The wings of wind burst out, and the shining divine wind surrounded Lin Chen like stars supporting the moon, turning into an unprecedented storm. Lin Chen's pupils surged with a touch of green divine light. He took a deep breath, mobilized all the saint power in his body, crossed his hands, and smiled. The King of Speed, invincible in all heavens. my god of wind, unparalleled in the fourth dimension. Ji Lan stared blankly at the green figure in the divine wind, and a burst of courage emerged in her heart, and her beautiful eyes glowed. Qin Shuangjue's lips trembled. What does he want to do? In the elders' group, several elders looked at each other in heated discussion. I remember that this seems to be the weapon he used against the Jura King? This is not a battle. What does he want to do with the trump card in the battle? Battle and refining medicine are two completely different things. Is this kid treating this as a place to fight? No matter how he struggles, it's impossible to refine a divine pill in a day. While the elders' group were in heated discussion, only Yun Tianlan stared at Lin Chen, and a touch of incredible shock appeared in his old eyes. His primordial spirit is condensing, and Yun Tianlan's heart was set off stormy waves. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he probably wouldn't have believed such a ridiculous thing in his life. Boom! The air billowed, and a gust of wind swept up in the venue. A large number of medicinal materials descended again. The main medicinal materials for refining the night rain frost pill, Xuanya divine crystal, Sanqing earth marrow, cloud dew, and other major ninth-level divine treasures of heaven and earth were all there. Qin Shuangjue's face suddenly changed. He wants to refine so many ninth-level treasures of heaven and earth at the same time? How can he handle so many cumbersome steps? The next moment, the expressions of the gods and the alchemists of the Alchemist Guild changed greatly. Boom! With a roar, Lin Chen's wings of wind spread, and the divine wind flashed. His figure tilted, and his whole person actually disappeared. Crack! The Xuanya divine crystal, which was the size of a fist, cracked instantly. When the essence energy inside the divine crystal flowed out, it purified all the impurities at a speed visible to the naked eye. It turned into a pool of green energy that condensed into a ball of light suspended in the air. Rip! A wisp of divine wind swept past. The divine wings flapped furiously, and a sonic boom soared into the sky. The earthy yellow 3 pure earth marrow was instantly enveloped by an ancient seal and melted into a ball of divine energy liquid at lightning speed. Numerous alchemists were dumbstruck. Quick! 2F** King fast. It was unimaginably fast. This was a Tier 9 heavenly treasure, a divine rank medicinal ingredient. This kind of refining speed was more than 100 times faster than the divine rank alchemists present. Was such an operation something a human could do? There's actually such a ridiculous thing in this world? Impossible. Even those in the divine soul realm can't refine medicinal herbs at such a speed. What's going on now? Where's Lin Chen? This old man can't even see his shadow. Many experts turned pale with fright, and some even went mad. The eyes of Realm Seas experts shone even more brightly. Ji Taizong, Old Man Blue Flame, Xiao Ruoyu, and the other divine rank alchemists stood up one after another. Their expressions were horrified as if they had discovered a new continent. When the eyes of the elders were covered with the power of the divine soul, the scalps of the elders instantly went numb. They seemed to be witnessing the birth of a miracle that surpassed all history in the alchemy world. The corners of Qin Shuangjue's lips trembled. He didn't have his usual vigor at all. There was only shock where he stood. At this very moment, only those who stepped into the divine soul realm could vaguely glimpse Lin Chen's figure. Lin Chen turned into a divine wind that howled through the venue. The divine wind transcended dimensions, transcended time and space. Even the naked eye of a god would find it difficult to see his afterimage. Divine soul realm experts could vaguely feel that Lin Chen's hand seals formed at an unimaginably fast speed while riding the divine wind. It was so fast that even the divine soul found it difficult to capture. And Master, what's the principle behind this? You're asking me? You go ask him. Master also wants to know. All the alchemy bigwigs felt their scalps go numb, and they sucked in cold air. The 8 desolation and 6 compatible seal shone brilliantly, blooming and spreading out from the void. Bang! 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 A group of doppelgangers assisted the energy of the level 8 medicinal herbs and shot it into the divine materials energy. The timing was perfect. With the doppelgangers assisting and the main body controlling, Lin Chun seemed to be in control of the entire situation. The refinement and several changes of the divine level heaven and earth treasure were like a high-speed art show. It flowed smoothly without the slightest sense of stagnation. Everyone's mouths were wide open. Everyone stood where they were, their faces were full of shock from being overturned. The elders in the elder group, those elders who were known as the alchemy geniuses, those people who were known as the geniuses in the alchemy world, those alchemy bigwigs who had won all the major awards of the Alchemist Guild and dominated the guild, those divine alchemists who commanded a region and had amazing alchemy skills. At this very moment, these legendary figures in the outside world were rooted to the spot as if they had seen a ghost. Not only were they shocked, but the bigwigs present were so scared that their faces turned pale. Lin Chen's alchemy speed was beyond everyone's imagination, and this was the result of his alchemy speed under the pressure of Yun Tianlan's powerful divine soul. Wouldn't Lin Chen be one step faster if the shackles were removed? Everyone's mind seemed to have been emptied for the first time. They couldn't explain any principle, and there was no principle. Judging from the history of the alchemy world, it was indeed impossible to refine a divine pill in a day. Such a possibility didn't exist in the heavenly realm. No matter how amazing the alchemy genius was, no matter how extraordinary the person was, it was impossible to overturn the various steps of the alchemy world. But there was no Lin Chen in the history of the past. If the ultimate god of wind set, known as the King of Speed, only had super-fast movement speed, it would be an insult to the title of King of Speed. Yes, the ultimate god of wind set increased the speed of all attributes. What kind of concept was the speed of all attributes? All attributes, including Lin Chen's strength, cultivation, realm, flesh shell, qi and blood, and vital spirit and divine power, would soar more than 100 times faster. The god of wind set was mainly a vambrace, so Lin Chen had to make seals personally to ensure the fastest speed of refining the divine pill. That was to say, when Lin Chen was refining, the operating speed of his vital spirit and the use of his divine power could be more than 100 times faster than usual. It was a speed that surpassed everything, a speed that surpassed concepts and consciousness. Its strength depended only on how the host used it. This was the ultimate god of wind set, the King of Speed. Buzz. In the venue, the energy ripples of an elixir ring surged, and more than a dozen energy light balls began to gather. All the experts felt their scalps tingle. How could he start to condense the embryonic pill so quickly? Lin Chen was serious about refining divine pills in a day. Chapter 1940. Lin Chen's flawless alchemy performance could make people forget about time. When all the alchemists were watching him refine the herbs, time seemed to pass in a flash. When the 13 energy balls began to merge from the furnace, many alchemists came back to their senses and exclaimed in shock. He's starting to condense the embryonic pill. This speed is ridiculously fast. I'm wet. I haven't seen enough, and he's already condensing the embryonic pill? What happened? Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Oh my God, he's even faster than me. How long has it been? When everyone was exclaiming, Yun Tianlan immediately looked at Elder Lu. Elder Lu looked down with shock on his face. He gasped and said, "It's only been 12 hours. Hiss." Even Yun Tianlan, a big shot in alchemy, couldn't help but gasp. Monstrous, too monstrous. A monster beyond common sense and cognition. Half a day. In just half a day, he began to progress to the step of condensing the embryonic pill of the divine grade. Ji Lan looked at the flashing divine wind, and great courage emerged in his heart. In the upper level of the Pill Pagoda, Yi Qingwu looked at the situation below and exclaimed, "As expected of you, you're always unexpected." Yi Qingwu's eyes flickered a few times, and she finally shook her head and laughed. "Forget it, now's not the time." In the Bluestone Square, the 13 energy balls began to merge violently, and a strong energy fluctuation burst out. Whoosh! Lin Chen, who moved at lightning speed, once again drew a shadow of divine wind, and everyone could finally see his figure. Lin Chen, who was stepping on the wind, floated in front of the furnace, and all his doppelgangers stood with him almost at the same time. Lin Chen's palm was on top of the furnace, and wisps of primordial spirit power entwined with the wind started to circulate rapidly. Boom! The energy in the furnace began to surge and converge, and the pure energy gradually overlap. The layers of the 8 Desolation and 6 Compatible Seal were divided into dozens of ancient seals and shrank into the furnace layer by layer, causing the energy in the furnace to converge into a fist-sized embryonic pill at an unprecedented speed. Everyone also saw that the 8 Desolation and 6 Compatible Seal was surrounded by a faint green wind, which increased the refining speed to an almost heaven-defying level. Oh my God, what kind of speed is this? The embryonic pill is about the size of an egg. It's about to take shape. The elders of the association were dumbstruck. With the speed of a god-level alchemist, this process would require at least a month's time, and this was under the condition that there were no mistakes. Although the speed of refining medicine has increased, the consumption of saint energy and primordial spirit energy has also increased. Can he hold on with such a terrifying consumption? The hearts of the Alchemist Association members rose to their throat. As alchemists of the guild, they wanted to witness the birth of this impossible legend more than anyone else. At this time, Lin Chen, who was wearing the divine wind wings, joked, "Just being fast isn't enough. You have to be able to last for a long time. None of the dark horses are afraid of a protracted battle." The refining speed of the embryonic pill in the pill furnace had actually increased by a notch. Using the extreme wind god set like this would consume a lot of energy. Previously, Lin Chen had been able to go all out in the battle with the Azura King because of the power of the Azura's nemesis Divine Fragment. However, this time, Lin Chen had used an additional part of the Divine Wind God set, and the consumption was even greater than the previous time. If it was in the past, Lin Chen wouldn't have been able to hold on because he was only at Saint Stage 8. But now, he was a Saint King. A Saint King comparable to an early Stage 4 Divine Realm expert. In addition, the spiritual light in the brain region of the 9th refinement stage had increased the power of his primordial spirit. The current Lin Chen was on a completely different level from before. Buzz. When the energy of the divine grade embryonic pill surged out, the embryonic pill was completely formed. Next was the most crucial step, the transformation of the embryonic pill into a complete divine pill. However, just when everyone thought that Lin Chen would carefully slow down his progress here, divine light flashed continuously, and the illusion doppelganger took out hundreds of complete substandard divine jades. The palm-sized substandard divine jades emitted a pure white glow. As they floated, all the energy in the divine jades was extracted and merged into the pill furnace. Boom, boom, boom. The pill furnace rumbled as if the earth was shaking, causing the entire venue to shake. The 8 Desolation 6 Compatible Seal that was surrounded by divine wind didn't slow down the speed of the pill furnace. Instead, it increased the speed of the pill furnace. All the alchemists cried out in shock once again. He's crazy. Using the energy of the substandard divine jades to enhance the harmonious spirit process of the embryonic pill into a divine pill. This is indeed a good method, but isn't this too outrageous? He's moving at an extremely fast speed now. Alchemist Lin Chen, the younger generation will surpass us in time. In the Yangtze River, Each new generation pushes on the previous one. This generation's waves reach the horizon. I'm willing to call Lin Chun the fastest. 100 pieces of substandard divine jades could replenish the divine force of 2 late-stage third-level divine realm experts to their peak state in a very short time. Such abundant energy was being refined into the embryonic pill at a speed visible to the naked eye. Lin Chen's action could be said to be crazy. No one wasn't shocked. Time passed second by second, but almost no one was willing to miss a single moment of Lin Chen's monstrous refining process. Bang! Suddenly, the pill furnace opened its lid. A ray of divine light soared into the sky. The white jade-colored divine light soared into the sky. Layers of dazzling pill clouds floated in the sky. A burst of pill fragrance permeated the air and seeped into the hearts of countless people. The entire Dan city could feel it. A snow-white divine pill the size of a longan slowly floated up and landed on Lin Chen's palm, appearing in front of everyone's eyes. At this moment, the entire square fell into silence. Everyone stared at the scene in a daze. Lin Chen, who was bathed in the pill's radiance, slowly walked in the air. He held the snow-white night rain frost pill in his hand. Layers of pill chi lingered around it, releasing spiritual energy as if it was alive. It was full of spirituality. Without a doubt, it was a perfect divine pill. Lin Chen smiled faintly. Night rain frost pill can protect a true god's heart meridians. It can be activated when a true god is seriously injured. The elders can verify the completeness of the divine pill at any time. The elders looked at each other. There was almost no need for verification. Who would doubt this divine pill that defied the heavens? Everyone had witnessed the miracle of its creation with their own eyes. Elder Lu's trembling voice slowly reverberated. It took 24 hours. There are 4 hours left before the end of the main selection. Yun Tianlan recovered from the shock and stood up abruptly. He flicked his sleeves and said, Lin Chun has passed the main selection. He will be a guest elder of our guild. In the square, countless experts were shocked. He made a divine pill in a day. Lin Chen really did it. There were still 4 hours left before the end of the main selection. There was still plenty of time. There will be a huge earthquake in the medicine-making world. A miracle worthy of being called a miracle. He used only 1 day to successfully make a divine pill under the pressure of Elder Yun's divine soul. Perhaps this will be unprecedented. Remember alchemist Lin Chen. He made a divine pill in a day. After today, this name will truly resound throughout Xing continent. We must keep him in the guild. Don't let other continents poach him. Many years later, at the 5 Continents Elixir Conference, we may need to rely on his assistance and methods. The entire Pill City was in an unprecedented state of shock. Lin Chen had become the only alchemist who had passed the main selection this time, and he was in the primordial soul realm with the cultivation of a holy king. Lin Chen retracted the wings of wind into his body. With a point of his fingertip, he set up a holy power seal. He kept the divine pill and smiled faintly. He's always the fastest and the most outstanding. Chapter 1941. Lin Chen removed the God of Wind set and felt a strong sense of fatigue. Fortunately, his primordial spirit was strong enough to withstand it. Host removed the God of Wind set. Left arm armor charging, 10%. Right arm armor charging, 11%. Wings of Wind charging, 30%. The pill refining this time consumed a lot of energy. Lin Chen wouldn't have dared to do this if it weren't for special circumstances. Lin Chen. Lin Chen. The entire Pill City was shouting Lin Chen's name. Qin Shuangjue stared at the figure in the center of attention and didn't speak for a long time. From today onwards, all the records set by Qin Shuangjue were broken by Lin Chen. The youngest guest elder in the history of the Alchemist Guild was Lin Chen, not Qin Shuangjue. Yun Tianlan removed the pressure on his divine soul and stepped into the square. He laughed heartily and said, Lin Chen, congratulations on becoming the only alchemist who passed the selection this time. Lin Chen smiled humbly. Every alchemist has their own strengths and weaknesses. They can't be measured by a competition. Look at his magnanimity, his tolerance. Someone asked curiously, What about you, Master Lin? Lin Chen smiled knowingly. I'm good at it. Everyone. Damn, that's amazing. Buzz. The space rippled and divine light bloomed. A mysterious black iron token floated in Yun Tianlan's hand. With a twist of his fingers, he held the divine brush in his hand and carved Lin Chen's name and information on the black iron token. With a push of his palm, the black iron token was sent to Lin Chen. Drip your blood on it. From today onwards, you are the guest elder of the Alchemist Guild. You can enjoy all the rights of the same status. When Lin Chen caught the black iron token, his eyes lit up. This item was made of divine iron. He resisted the urge to smash the token and change it into a set of attribute. When Lin Chen dripped his blood on it, the black iron token shone brightly. There were a few more messages on the black iron token. Lin Chen, contribution points, 11,000. Status, guest elder. Main achievement, passed the alchemist selection and refined a divine pill in one day. He broke a record in the Alchemist Guild, became the youngest guest elder in history, and set a new record for refining divine pills. Guild title, King of Speed. Boom. A streak of divine light soared into the sky. It was green in color and displayed Lin Chen's name and result. There was even a brand new pharmacist title, King of Speed. Lin Chen laughed out loud. Good boy, you really are recognized as the fastest. All the alchemists looked at the divine light in the sky with envy. Apart from Lin Chen, everyone knew how great it was to become a guest elder of the guild. Yun Tianlan stroked his beard and said with a smile, Your contribution points can be used in every stronghold of the guild in Singapore. 1 contribution point can be exchanged for a piece of substandard divine jade, and it can also be used in the guild. However, divine jades cannot be exchanged for contribution points, so contribution points are usually more important. Lin Chen sucked in a cold breath. Damn it, so terrifying. He had 11,000 contribution points. Didn't that mean he could exchange them for 11,000 pieces of substandard divine jade? Lin Chen's total wealth was not even enough for 1,000 pieces of divine jade. The contribution points stored in the token directly exceeded his wealth. The Alchemist Guild is so rich, Lin Chen exclaimed. Yun Tianlan smiled and said, You'll get 1,000 contribution points for becoming an elder. As for the other 10,000 contribution points, they will be awarded based on your achievement. The contribution points awarded for each achievement in the guild are different. You'll be familiar with these in the future. Lin Chen, the senior members of the guild and I have decided to meet you. We have something to discuss. We hope you can come to us after you've recovered. The latter part of Yun Tianlan's speech was secretly transmitted. It's a very important task. If you can complete it, you'll be rewarded handsomely. After that, Yun Tianlan gave Lin Chen a meaningful look, rose into the air, and announced loudly, This is the end of the selection. Alchemists who didn't pass don't be discouraged. Many commissions in the guild will be issued regularly. If you can complete an important commission, you'll naturally get a place in the next selection. The selection of the guild had officially come to an end. While everyone was still talking about it, Lin Chen's phantom doppelganger flashed and collected all the attribute light balls scattered in the bluestone square. Host has received 10 points of divine spiritual power, 19 points of divine spiritual power, 9 points of divine rune energy. Lin Chen collected a large number of attributes dropped by the divine alchemist. The power of his primordial spirit soared again. Miraculously, Lin Chen's primordial spirit had not yet reached the level of transforming into a divine soul. In a way, Lin Chen's primordial spirit was as effective as a divine alchemist when used in alchemy. But when used in battle, his primordial spirit was far inferior to the divine soul realm. After all, if the divine soul was used in battle, it could transform into a prison of mountains and seas, heaven and earth, and its destructive power was comparable to the laws. The only thing that was certain was that once Lin Chen cultivated his divine soul, he would be far superior to those of the same level. Okay, let's recover our saint power first. Lin Chen absorbed the energy of the divine jade from the Providence plant pouch to make up for the saint power and primordial spirit power that he had lost. When the Scarlet Fairy in the Providence plant pouch saw this, she immediately held up a few pieces of divine jade and put them into the 200 hexagonal stars that Lin Chen opened. The divine jade was extremely effective. It did not take long for Lin Chen to recover 40% of his saint power, and it was still recovering. It was far more effective than a series of consumables such as gold and saint origin coins. No wonder it was a treasure that was sought after like a flock of duck. After leaving the venue, Lin Chen stepped into the guild's pill pagoda. As a guest elder, he had a special place to rest and was not disturbed by the outside world. After dinner in the secret room, Lin Chen opened the system while he was resting. Host: Lin Chen, cultivation, divine ruler, divine essence, 998 million. Ultimate power, 630 million. Venerable energy, flesh shell awakening plus 600%. Divine blood chi, ***** million. Divine spirit, 230,500 point. Divine ability essence, 588,800 points. Divine rune energy, 320,000 points. Divine heavenly path points, ****0 points. Divine talent points, 9,810 points. Intermediate set essence, 130 million. Divine strengthening points, 180,000 point. Divine attributes, 90,000 for fire, 40,000 for earth, 50,000 for wood, 30,000 for metal, 150,000 for water, 80,000 for thunder, 70,000 for wind, 50,000 for light, 50,000 for dark. Set column, Ultimate Golden Aries set, recharge 4%. Ultimate Aeolus set parts, Vambrace, Divine Wings. Talent column, available in the 4th dimension, Extreme God Possession, Split Shadow, God Slayer. Incomplete, Ultimate Defiant Fragment, 5/6. Special Attribute Treasure, Crimson Technique Fragment, 1/4. Divine Spark column, Divine Elephant, Divine Spark, Immortal Divine Spark, Divine Spark Fragment, 2/6. Azura's Nemesis, Divine Spark Fragment, 1/6. It's a pity that the Spirit Awakening has reached the maximum limit. I can't achieve the 10th stage awakening like the Flesh Shell Awakening. Otherwise, my alchemy speed would be higher. Lin Chen muttered, my Flesh Shell Awakening hasn't become a god yet. It's only able to have 600 million venerable energy because of the Spirit Awakening. If he absorbed the Azura King's blood chi, Lin Chen could completely increase the probability of becoming a god. But for Lin Chen at this stage, letting his divine dragon absorb it was the best choice. If he used the divine dragon possession and then used the Golden Aries set, the effect would be the best and strongest state. Chapter 1942. Divine Dragon Possession. With a thought, Lin Chen tried to infuse the divine dragon's power into his body. Rumble! Lin Chen's body erupted with a terrifying aura that was like a river flowing through the earth, causing the space enchantment to tremble. This is? Lin Chen's eyes glowed. In 3 months, the divine dragon had completely refined all the divine-level blood chi that the Azura King had dropped. A total of 260 divine dragon meridians. 260 desolate power. The current divine dragon could challenge a mid-stage tier 3 divine realm expert. It was a huge leap in growth. If the Azura King was at his peak, the divine-level blood chi that he had dropped would be far more than this. Of course, if the Azura King was at his peak, Lin Chen could only use the Aries set. Otherwise, he would not even be qualified to stand in front of him. Whether he could win or not was another matter, let alone kill him. After dispelling the divine dragon possession, Lin Chen took out a jade box from his Providence plant pouch. It was the jade box that contained the Night Rain Frost pill, the first divine pill that Lin Chen had refined. Even with the seal on the jade box, Lin Chen could still feel the divine pill's powerful spirituality, as if it was about to break free from the seal. Divine pills had a core embryo, spirituality, and vitality. If left alone after refining, it would gradually evolve into a complete life form. It was very mysterious, and could even cultivate into a spiritual body or even become a powerful expert in the world. What a strong spirituality! Luckily, I sealed it when it was transforming. If I let it transform successfully, I'm afraid it would exhaust its own energy to fight with me. Lin Chen clicked his tongue in wonder. Divine pills were very magical. In history, there were even alchemists who did not handle it well and allowed the divine pill's spirituality to transform them into spiritual bodies, pretending to be normal. When they consumed it, they would self-destruct and blast the true God into smithereens, leaving only his primordial spirit behind. Although the divine pill was good, one had to have the ability to control it. Then, Lin Chen opened the jade box and removed the seal. The divine pill flew away. Boom! Lin Chen instantly used his saint power to grab it and swallow it. As soon as the divine pill entered his mouth, he immediately activated his saint energy to refine it, and the divine pill melted. The gentle and majestic medicinal power instantly flowed into Lin Chen's limbs and bones, and a chilling energy permeated his entire body. Then, the energy fused into Lin Chen's body. There wasn't too much of an explosion, and it only quieted down for a moment. This feels so good. Lin Chen exhaled. The gentle energy continued to adhere to every inch of his flesh and blood, protecting his lifeline. The Night Rain Clear Frost Divine Pellet was a pellet that would only activate when Lin Chen was seriously injured. With this divine pellet, Lin Chen would have an extra life. Prince Lin Chen, it's time to eat? At this moment, Qing Er's voice came from outside the door. Lin Chen said, "Please come in." Today, little Qing was wearing a pink palace dress. She was very pretty. She had been promoted to Lin Chen's personal servant in the guild. Although Lin Chen only wanted her to help him collect delicious food from the guild, she was very smart. After last time, she didn't overstep her boundaries. "Young master." When little Qing put down the food, she tapped her storage ring, and 7 more letters were placed on the table. Little Qing said, "Today, 7 more forces have invited young master to become the head alchemist. The remuneration and conditions are all written in the letters. They also promised that as long as you go, they'll give you divine rank pill recipes." Lin Chen didn't even look at them. He continued to eat and said casually, "You want to paint a picture of me with these letters? Let them stay where they want to be." But little Qing was a little suspicious. "Young master, you said you wouldn't accept any gifts," Lin Chen said with a serious expression. "Didn't they understand what I said? Don't let the bad atmosphere of the God realm spread in here. I can refuse to accept, but they can't refuse." Little Qing came to a realization and said with a smile, "Then I'll go and reply to them on your behalf." A cold aura froze the doorway and covered it with a faint layer of frost. Little Qing was shocked. Someone trespassed into the elder's residence? She saw a cold and beautiful figure swaying like an ice lotus appear at the door. Little Qing said timidly, "Greetings, Elder Qing." Lin Chen stood up and said, "Little Qing, you can leave first." Little Qing heard this and packed up her things and left. Lin Chen smiled casually. Young Lady Qing came to my room in the middle of the night. "Could it be that you have ideas about my spear technique?" Qin Shuangjue said, refining a divine pill in a day. You did something that even I couldn't do. Lin Chen shrugged. And then? Qin Shuangjue waved her hand, and her soul spread out like a barrier, enveloping the entire secret room and isolating it from the outside world. She closed the door for a night raid? What does she want to do? What if she has improper thoughts about me later? Should I shout until my throat breaks or become friends with her? Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. What do you want to do? First of all, I welcome gift. If you want to play with fire, be careful. Qin Shuangjue said, you can refine a divine pill so quickly because of that special treasure of yours, right? Qin Shuangjue was referring to the god of wind set. Lin Chen's eyes flashed with a sharp light. What do you want to say? Qin Shuangjue's cold and beautiful snow dimple showed a trace of sincerity for the first time. Lin Chen, I can negotiate with you on behalf of the Qin family. You can state your request and price. My Qin family is interested in buying that treasure. No, even the blueprint is fine. But, as soon as her voice fell, Lin Chen threw a piece of shining green armor in front of her. Qin Shuangjue was stunned. Lin Chen smiled and said jokingly, why don't you try it? Qin Shuangjue took the god of wind set and said in shock, You are not afraid that I will run away with it? Indeed, Lin Chen was very strong. But Qin Shuangjue was not weak either. Her soul alone was comparable to the power of law. If she wanted to leave, Lin Chen would have a hard time keeping her. But he threw his most precious thing directly in front of Qin Shuangjue. In this round of game, Lin Chen was at least in the atmosphere. Qin Shuangjue was bewildered and put on the god of wind set. However, there was no reaction. Its light was completely gone, and the divinity and divine wind of the past did not appear at all. It was like a piece of scrap metal. Except for its handsome appearance, it had no spirituality. Qin Shuangjue was stunned. This, Lin Chen waved his hand and called back the god of wind set. When he put it on in an instant, the divine light shone brightly. The divine wind of the green light whirlwind immediately bloomed and spun around Lin Chen. His silver robe fluttered and he looked handsome. It was like the peerless divine appearance when he was refining pills that day. Qin Shuangjue was stunned. She was puzzled. This is, Lin Chen said, only I can use it. Qin Shuangjue was completely stunned. Lin Chen smiled and said, in the entire divine realm, only I am its master. It doesn't have any production method. Without me, it is just a piece of scrap metal. Qin Shuangjue sighed after a long time. Are you really not going to record your alchemy experience? Lin Chen laughed teasingly. Do you want it so much? Qin Shuangjue moved lightly and approached Lin Chen. Her skin was close to his. Lin Chen's first feeling was softness. Yes. Whether it is your alchemy skills or you, Lin Chen, I want them all. Qin Shuangjue stared straight at Lin Chen and exhaled. How many men want to get close to me but don't have the chance? What are you waiting for? Come over quickly and seize this opportunity. Qin Shuangjue's jade-like eyes seemed to be able to hook the souls of men. There was a fiery charm hidden under her cold elegance. Lin Chen said in a serious tone. Really? I am an honest child. I have never even held a girl's hand. Don't lie to me. Chapter 1943. For a talented woman like Qin Shuangjue, combat strength was not the first factor to conquer her. It was to make such a proud woman put down her disguise. After laughing, Lin Chen's cynical expression and eyes were particularly calm. Miss Qin, I sell my skills, not my body. What an unromantic man. Qin Shuangjue glared at him and pushed Lin Chen away. Lin Chen smiled and said nothing. Qin Shuangjue put on her clothes, her eyes full of resentment. I'm here to inform you that the elders can't wait to see you. They hope that you can meet them in the guild tomorrow. Lin Chen nodded and said, No problem. If there are no accidents, I'll meet them tomorrow. Lin Chen finished and lowered his head to read. Qin Shuangjue suddenly leaned forward and whispered in his ear. You're the first man who can make me so excited. If you can't calm down, my body can be lent to you at any time. After saying that, Qin Shuangjue showed a beautiful smile, like an iceberg melting, beautiful beyond compare. Lin Mao said in all seriousness. You're so good-looking. You should cry for a long time after punching me. Qin Shuangjue's expression froze. She lowered her head and saw the title of the book in Lin Chen's hand, How to Get Along with Idiots If You're Too Handsome. You. Qin Shuangjue was furious. Whoosh. The divine wind whistled. Lin Chen's 2 fingertips were pointed at her eyes. It was terrifyingly fast. You want to behave atrociously in my place? I can punch you 10,000 times before you behave atrociously. Lin Chen laughed mockingly. Okay. I'll go. Qin Shuangjue gritted her teeth. Bang. Not long after, a beauty slammed the door of Lin Chen's residence and left angrily with her almond-shaped eyes. You want to seduce your brother, Chen? Little trick. Lin Chen shook his head and laughed. Qin Shuangjue and Shangguan Yun, 2 ice beauties, looked the same but were completely different. Shangguan Yun's coldness came from the indifference of seeing through everything. On the other hand, Qin Shuangjue's indifference stemmed from the pride of her birth and ability. If one could surpass or conquer her with their ability, then the most feminine side hidden under her cold and beautiful face would be revealed. Nothing good would come out of getting involved with such a woman. Although he was a playboy, he was not a stud horse. He would not sleep with every woman he saw, even if he had the ability to. The higher-ups of the Alchemist Guild? I'll go take a look tomorrow and see what kind of tricks they have up their sleeves. It just so happens that I'm lacking set essence, under the moonlight in the upper levels of the pill tower. When Qin Shuangjue left angrily, a beautiful and refined figure streaked across the night sky. A wisp of colorful dress fluttered like a cloud. She was like a fairy dancing under the night sky. She rose into the air, and her enchanting and beautiful posture made Qin Shuangjue slightly entranced. Qin Shuangjue said, Are you leaving? Yiqing Wu lowered her head to look at Qin Shuangjue. When she saw the blush on her face, she giggled. You went to make a move on him, right? I didn't expect him to be so lonely. Let me guess, you didn't succeed. Qin Shuangjue was like a fox whose tail was stepped on. Her cheeks were flushed red and she clenched her teeth. Humph! I don't need a virgin like you to teach me a lesson. Yiqing Wu smiled but did not say anything. Qin Shuangjue said again, I can't see through him. I can't see through him at all. Every time he acts, it's always beyond my expectations. You already knew all this? Yiqing Wu said, No one can know his next move. Qin Shuangjue said, You're not going to see him and you're leaving? Yiqing Wu shook her head, I want to see him, but I don't want to see him. Why? Because I'm afraid that if I see him, I won't want to leave. Staying by his side will always be fun. But now is not the time for me to leave the Yi clan for a long time. After saying that, Yiqing Wu turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared. I really envy you, peerless demon empress. The next day, on the top floor of the guild, Lin Chen looked at a series of treasures with the Elder Token. He was dazzled. Substandard Divine Tool, Dark Moon Divine Weapon. Price, 12,000 contribution points. Substandard Divine Pill, Reincarnation Pill. Price, 9,800 contribution points. Divine Pill Recipe, Six Suns God Absolute Pill. Price, 24,000 contribution points. Substandard Divine Tool, Deep Sea God Sword. Price, 13,000 contribution points. Dark Knight Pavilion's Top Secret Manual. Suspected to have recorded the secret of the pavilion's destruction. Information is sparse. Can only be read once before disappearing. Price, 2,990 contribution points. 9th level rare ore, 9-fold red sun iron. Forged with 9 divine patterns. Can be used to forge middle-grade divine tools. Price, 9,000 contribution points. A series of important treasures and rare items were all presented in front of Lin Chen's eyes. As long as he had contribution points, these were all within reach. Lin Chen clicked his tongue in wonder. Good fellow, if I accumulate a wave of contribution points and exchange them for divine tools, I won't have to worry about not having set essences. At this time, a deacon from the upper level of the pill tower walked over and bowed respectfully. Elder Lin Chen, the other elders have been waiting for a long time. Lin Chen met with the elders of the Elder Council. In a secret room, several black-robed elders and a gray-robed old woman sat in the main hall. They were all in the divine soul realm. A faint sense of divine soul pressure came from the elders. If it were an ordinary alchemist, it would be very difficult for them to stabilize their state of mind in front of these people. However, Lin Chen crossed his legs, chewed on an apple, and hummed a little tune. His relaxed and calm appearance made the elders of the Elder Council twitch their mouths. Cough, Yun Tianlan coughed lightly. A black-robed elder spoke in a hoarse voice. Elder Lin Chen, we've seen your performance in the main selection. Coincidentally, our guild has an important task that suits you. If you complete it, the reward will be very generous. The black-robed elder pushed out a space jade slip. Lin Chen took the jade slip and opened it. Buzz. A large amount of information poured into Lin Chen's elder token. Tiani Divine Nation, a first-class divine nation. The Prime Minister of the Divine Nation has been poisoned by Long Yanqi and is currently critically ill. He can't move from his mansion in Tiani Divine Mountain. There is an ancient array between the mountains. Except for the people of the Divine Nation, foreign true gods will be suppressed by the divine soul of the ancestors of Tiani Divine Mountain. Remaining time, 81 days. If the task is completed, the reward: 100,000 contribution points, 2 artifacts, a divine-level pill recipe, and a cultivation method of your choice in the Divine Nation. 2 artifacts and 100,000 contribution points. Lin Chen's heart skipped a beat. He knew that in the Alchemist Guild, the contribution points could be exchanged for more than 5 artifacts. The gray-robed old woman said, "Little guy, you're very suitable for this task. The territory of Tiani Divine Nation has their ancestral array. If foreign true gods step in, they have to resist the strong divine soul pressure. But you're not in the divine soul realm or the true god realm, and you have the strength of a divine-level alchemist. This task is very suitable for you." Lin Chen said calmly, "Why don't they lift the array?" The gray-robed old woman said, "Only the Prime Minister of the Divine Nation knows how to lift the array. Now that the Prime Minister is in a coma, he can only borrow the Tiani Divine Stone of Tiani Divine Nation to prolong his life. He can't leave the Divine Nation. When foreign divine-level alchemists enter the Divine Mountain, they can't fully use their refining skills to find out the problem for him." Lin Chen said, "The reward is too little. I can't go." Everyone was stunned. Too little? Chapter 1944. Outside the Alchemist Guild, in the Far East, when Lin Chen stirred up trouble by himself and overturned the history of the Alchemist Guild, 1.5 months ago. In an ancient hall, the peerless genius who had achieved a divine achievement, young Master Qianling, who was dressed in a green robe and untainted by the mortal world, stood with his hands behind his back. He closed his eyes and listened to the report of the person behind him. "You said that Gu Lingtian asked to see you, and that Lin Chen also appeared in the main selection of the Alchemist Guild?" The black-robed man kneeling on one knee said hoarsely, "Yes." Young Master Qianling said indifferently, "I asked you to seal off some details about this child in the Taichu Divine Kingdom. Have you solved it?" The black-robed man said respectfully, "It's solved." Young Master Qianling asked, "How did you solve it?" The black-robed man said, "We solved the person who found the problem." "Very good." Young Master Qianling opened his eyes, and there was a faint divine thunder descending. The wind and clouds in the outside world suddenly changed, and thunderclouds appeared out of thin air. "Young master, your decision is," young Master Qianling said sternly. "This time, I'll leave it to you. A miracle has appeared in the northwest buried god palace. I want to go there personally." The black-robed man cupped his fists and accepted the order. "Yes." Then, Qianling said thoughtfully, "However, against such a strange guy, he might have some trump cards. He can't be underestimated. Rashly attacking is not my way of doing things. I don't know if Lin Chen has any other forces behind him. Let's get Gu Lingtian to test Lin Chen's abilities first. It would be best if he could bring his head to me." Qianling threw out a golden jade slip with his instructions engraved on it. The black-robed man took it and said emotionally, "Young master, you want to use the heavenly slaughter token?" Qianling said, "Go. It's taboo to underestimate the enemy. Bring Yu Tianwei with you. She has been very resentful recently. Take this opportunity to bring his head and secrets back to me." "Yes." The black-robed man instantly disappeared into the void. Outside the ancient hall, Gu Lingtian was waiting outside. He had set off a few days ago. When he found out that Lin Chen had a grudge with young Master Qianling's woman, he gave up on observing the main selection and chose to visit young Master Qianling to report the situation. On the surface, he was delivering information, but in the dark, he was using someone else to do the dirty work. With a wisp of smoke, the black-clothed man appeared. Gu Lingtian cupped his fists. "Sir, what is young noble Qianling's answer?" "Buzz." The black-clothed man flashed his token. The heavenly assassin token that shone with a golden light made Gu Lingtian's expression change. The man in black only used a short sentence to summarize the situation. "Young master orders us to go to the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion and mobilize experts to retrieve Lin Chen's head and return with the secret." Gu Lingtian was overjoyed. Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion, an ancient giant-level assassination force. They often cooperated with Realm C. As long as they had money, they would even dare assassinate the experts of ancient giant powers. The Heavenly Slaughter Order could mobilize the best assassins in the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion. "Lin Chen, oh Lin Chen, this time I want to see just how many secrets you have." Time returned to the end of the Alchemist Guild's main selection, the top floor of the Pill Tower. "The reward is too little. I can't go." Lin Chen spread his hands. "Sorry, I'm a member of the Dark Horse organization. It costs a few 100,000 for 15 minutes. I can't go with this little reward." With that, Lin Chen got up and left. He really went to open the door and was about to leave. The gray-clothed old woman's mouth twitched slightly. It looked like this kid was going to take a big bite out of them. The commission this time was indeed very important. The Tiani Divine Nation and the Taichu Divine Nation were not on the same level. The Divine Nation had rich resources and controlled a large number of mystic realms. If he could save the Prime Minister of the Divine Nation, it was equivalent to accepting a favor from them. It would be of great benefit to the Alchemist Association. Just as he was about to put his hand on the door handle, Lin Chen counted in his heart. 3-2, Elder Lin Chen. As expected, the elders of the Elder Association called out to him. Lin Chen turned around and said with a teasing smile, "What do you all say?" The elders looked at each other, and the black-robed old man in the lead swiped his finger. Buzz. The reward on the token suddenly became 200,000 contribution points. However, the commission also became something that only Lin Chen could see. The black-robed old man said, "This is the biggest reward I can give you with my personal authority. Elder Lin Chen, I hope you won't raise the price again. If this reward is not enough, I can't do anything." Lin Chen smiled and said, "I'll take it." Everyone thought to themselves, changing faces faster than flipping a book. Lin Chen knew very well that one couldn't push others too hard. Sometimes it was best to be tight and loose. If he raised the price too much, these old monsters wouldn't be able to get out of the embarrassing situation. The black-robed old man coughed lightly, and Lin Chen sat back down as if nothing had happened. His smiling appearance made many elders want to beat him up. Elder Lin Chen, you can invite your companions on this trip. There will also be other commission rewards. For the matter of Tiani Divine Nation, other divine alchemists can assist you although they can't refine pills. You can choose from the alchemists in the guild who are currently free to assist you. Hearing this, Lin Chen did not hesitate. He picked up the brush and wrote down 2 names. When the elders saw this, their expressions were especially interesting. Pill Tower, 1st floor lobby. Xue Jianming was stunned. Brother Lin Chen, you chose me to assist you in your commission? You think too highly of me. Jilan asked curiously, I have to go too? Lin Chen nodded and said, other than you guys, I don't trust anyone else. Of course, the decision is up to you guys. The commission reward this time is also 20,000 contribution points per person. The 2 of them looked at each other, and their brows shone with completely different expressions. We'll go, the 2 of them said in unison. At this moment, a slender figure appeared and walked towards Lin Chen, tossing a storage ring casually. Shangguan Yun said, while you were in seclusion, I collected some sacred weapons in Pill City. Lin Chen was stunned and caught it with one hand. When his essence spirit looked at the storage ring, there were hundreds of grade 9 sacred weapons inside. Shangguan Yun took advantage of the fact that Lin Chen was in seclusion to collect sacred weapons for him. It was another batch of set essence attributes. Lin Chen raised his thumb and praised, as expected of my sister Shangguan. She's ruthless and doesn't talk much. She's much better than some slutty foxes who only know how to bump into people with balls. Shangguan Yun frowned. Bump into people with balls? A certain cold beauty who was observing in secret twitched her lips. Don't bother about the details. Let's go to Tiani Divine Nation. With a wave of his hand, Lin Chen released the divine dragon that carried the 3 of them and left the guild's pill tower. Now that the divine dragon's strength had increased tremendously, its flying speed was especially terrifying. Although it could not compare to the wind god set, it would not take long to head to Tiani Divine Nation. On the dragon's back, Lin Chen flicked his finger. A shimmering orange light shot into Shangguan Yun's glabella. Shangguan Yun asked, what did you shoot at me? Lin Chen smiled mockingly. Just a little surprise. Feel it for yourself. Activating attribute transfer function. Expending 8 divine tier heavenly Dao points and 3,800 divine tier cultivation technique soul essences. Fusing the cultivation memories of the designated target. Remaining divine tier cultivation technique soul essences. 55,080 points. Before Shangguan Yun could ask further, a massive amount of cultivation memories surged into her mind. What is this? Shangguan Yun was shocked and looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. He still had such methods? Just how much more is he hiding? Chapter 1945. Boom. In Shangguan Yun's mind, countless cultivation memories merged together as if they were self-taught. The bottleneck and sealed cultivation in the last section of Shangguan Yun's Heart Sutra all underwent a shocking change. Lin Chen smiled casually. Sit down and cultivate. When your cultivation technique is complete, we will be almost at Tiani God Nation. Thank you. Shangguan Yun looked at Lin Chen with a complicated expression. To Lin Chen, this might be a piece of cake, but to Shangguan Yun, it was no less than giving her a new lease on life. Her cultivation technique was not passed down in the Shangguan family, but obtained by chance in the World Sea. If she could comprehend the last chapter, her suppressed cultivation would be completely unsealed, and there was a high chance that she would advance further. While they were on the road, Lin Chen took the opportunity to open the system. Now that he was a Sage King, he could use the system's upgrade key. He wondered what kind of ability the next version of the system would give Lin Chen. Host has activated Heavenly Path Attribute Picking System version 9, 0 key. New version estimated function. Increase talent limit. Red tier talent. Increase Godhead mutation function. The power of the Godhead will undergo a huge mutation, producing extremely powerful effects. Increase equipment set evolution function. Original characteristics of the equipment set will remain unchanged, and additional evolution effects will be added. When he saw the new function, Lin Chen's mouth twitched a few times. The next version would actually open up red tier talents? Lin Chen could now use orange grade talents in the fourth dimension. Instant light split shadow, God defying, God slaying, extreme God possession, and so on. Which one of them was not a trump card? Orange high grade and top grade talents were already so heaven defying. How powerful was a red tier talent? However, when Lin Chen saw the new condition, he almost cursed out loud. Update condition. 10 million God tier heavens path points, 100 million God tier cultivation technique soul essences, 10 million saint tier strengthening points, 10 million God tier talent points. Lin Chen, system, I suspect that you added an extra 100 million and 10,000 units. System, oh no display error. Host, please confirm carefully. Lin Chen. Lin Chen's God tier heavens path points did not even reach 1,000. 10 million? How many strong enemies did he have to kill? At the very least, it was unimaginable. Lin Chen shook his head helplessly. It looks like there's no hope for an update anytime soon. Count on it. The divine dragon flight increased its speed by a knot. In the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. Lin Chen was about to reach the territory of the first heaven god nation. Boom. Chi. The space suddenly exploded as a sonic boom swept over, transforming into countless waves of energy that surged over. The arrow light blazing with divine red flames pierced through the void, shooting straight towards Lin Chen and the others. It happened so suddenly that Lin Chen reacted in the blink of an eye. He channeled his saint power and punched towards the sky. The divine dragon unleashed its dragon breath, and the Taishi divine light shone brightly, protecting the people on the dragon's back. Bang! 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 Lin Chen used his fist to deflect the arrow. More than 1,000 desolate saint force surged forward and blasted the arrow away. The aftershock caused Lin Chen and the others to be blasted away. Lin Chen retreated a few hundred feet. When he stabilized himself, the divine dragon was struck down. Fortunately, the absolute defense of the Taishi divine light protected the 3 of them, especially Shang Guanyun, who was cultivating in seclusion. Gray flames ignited in the sky, and a strong murderous aura descended, enveloping the heavens. There was a group of people standing on top of the burning cloud of gray flames. The group of people split up in an instant. They did not attack Lin Chen immediately. Instead, they sealed off the surrounding space. Their auras were like the Grim Reaper from hell. The oppressive feeling of being stained with a sea of blood and mountains of corpses suppressed the surroundings. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Attacking as soon as they arrive. Looks like they want to start a fight. The leader of the black-robed men stepped forward, causing the space to tremble and the clouds to change. The black-robed man shouted arrogantly, his voice rumbling. "Who's the best fighter here?" Lin Chen grinned and was about to answer when an elegant and moving voice spread across the sky. "Of course it's me. Could it be Lin Chen?" Suddenly, his divine soul appeared, and a beautiful figure appeared out of nowhere in the void. Her delicate and dazzling phoenix dress revealed the proud curve of her jade peaks. The beauty's cold and elegant brows were full of contempt. Lin Chen was shocked. "Why are you here?" Xue Jiaming and Ji Lan were shocked. "Elder Qin?" Surprisingly, the person standing on Lin Chen's side was Qin Shuangjue. Qin Shuangjue did not answer the 3's doubts. Instead, she looked at the distant sky. The people from the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion, what a big lineup. 2 heaven-rank assassins. She lifted the corner of her lips and mocked. "Gu Lingtian, you're hiding. Come out. I know it's you. Why aren't you chasing after your peerless demon empress? Why are you here to cause trouble? Gu Lingtian, who was masked in the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion's team, took off his cloak and said indifferently, "Young Lady Qin, this is not something you can interfere with." Beside him, the brawny man in black armor and the woman in red who had slandered Shuejianming earlier appeared. At this moment, the two of them no longer hid their cultivation base. They were actually in the middle stage of the third level of the Divine Realm. Shuejianming watched this scene with a serious expression. The two of them were indeed in cahoot. It seemed that the one who wanted to ruin his reputation was Gu Lingtian. Lin Chen suddenly understood. No wonder this guy disappeared in the main selection. It turned out that he had gone to recruit people. Qin Shuangjue said calmly, "As an elder of the guild, you've been very close to Elder Wei of the Elder Council recently. You already knew that the Elder Council planned to let Lin Chen complete that commission, right? You even waited until he left the guild's territory before taking action. Could it be that you want his life?" Gu Lingtian sneered. "Young Lady Qin, you're so protective of him this time. Could it be that you've taken a liking to this guy?" Qin Shuangjue said, "You're in a hurry to leave the guild, so you might not know. This guy has already passed the main selection and is now one of the elders of the guild. His status is not inferior to yours. If the elders of the guild kill each other, you know the consequences, right?" Gu Lingtian's expression changed slightly. "He passed the main selection? With just him?" Lin Chen smiled mockingly and said, "Are you surprised? Are you surprised?" The leading black-robed assassin said, "All right, you can talk about your alchemists over there. Today, I'm only here to take this guy's head. My Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion is not your alchemist guild." Boom! A storm swept across, and two divine soul powers erupted at the same time. It was Ji Lan and Qin Shuangjue. "You're not allowed to hurt Big Brother Lin Chen." Ji Lan floated in the air. The aura that erupted from her petite body made every powerhouse present not dare to underestimate her. The black-robed man frowned and said, "He's condensed a divine soul at such a young age?" A divine soul realm alchemist was comparable to a perfected stage 4 true god with laws. Qin Shuangjue floated in the air like a fairy. After glancing at Ji Lan, she said to Lin Chen without even turning her head, "You owe me a favor." After saying that, Qin Shuangjue disappeared in a flash and actually took the lead to attack the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion. She raised her palm toward the sky, and boundless divine soul power was like a primordial force that overturned the earth. It penetrated the icy coldness of the essence soul and turned into an ice-tide divine soul storm. The corner of Lin Chen's mouth twitched slightly. When this sister fought, she was also someone who didn't say much. The black-robed man reached out with both hands, and his 5 fingers burst forth with mighty storm divine power. One of the 3,000 great Tao, wind elemental laws, was displayed as he pulled with both hands. Chi! Rip! The black-robed man's wind elemental laws burst forth and tore apart Qin Shuangjue's divine soul storm with his bare hands. "Hold those two women back. Focus on killing the target." Under the black-robed man's command, 8 black-robed assassins took a step and disappeared, speeding toward Lin Chen. Lin Chen raised his brows. "Want to kill me?" The phantom divine light instantly descended, and 6 clones appeared in the air. "Let's see who dies first." Chapter 1946. Lin Chen, you broke my arm. I'll castrate you before killing you today. A resentful voice came from above the burning gray clouds. While Gu Lingtian was hesitating, an exquisite figure stood out beside him. Lin Chen came to a realization. "So it's you, Yu Tianwei." Then, he smiled like a child. "Help me thank your Yu family for sending me such a good spiritual plant of providence." Yu Tianwei was stunned and fumed with anger. "Lin Chen, you have to kill someone in the heart. Hold those 2 women back. Focus on killing the target." When the black-robed assassin gave the order, the other heaven-rank assassin was about to move. The emerald divine soul light condensed into many crescent moon-like beams of divine light and shot out in all directions. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The heaven-rank assassin slashed with his blood-colored scimitar, and the divine power he used to press down on the scimitar increased by 30%. The law of blood surged, and the pressure of the scimitar increased by 30%. Rumble! The scimitar cut off the divine soul power, but it was also scattered by the divine soul. Ji-Lan floated in the air, and her petite body emitted a pressure that caused the curved space and time to tremble. The divine soul realm is really troublesome. The two heaven-rank assassins were immediately stopped by Ji-Lan and Qin Shuangju. Heaven-rank assassins who controlled laws were at least perfected 4th stage divine realm. You want to kill me? Let's see who dies first. Lin Chen's main body and phantom doppelgangers swarmed forward. His divine power formed weapons, and his sword techniques, saber techniques, and other ultimate techniques exploded. The saber aura was endless, like clouds and smoke. In a flash, a wisp of sword shadow slashed open the vast Tao, and in an instant, it pierced through the attack of a black-robed true god. The arrow light that burned the sky traversed the 4 seas, piercing through the sky and splitting into 5. The dancing saber light spread out like lotus flowers, and hundreds of feet of saber-light lotus shadows bloomed like a tide. All the assassins were moved. 200 saint points? Lin Chen used all his ultimate techniques, and with the enhancement of Ambilight and Ambilight, Lin Chen's advanced orange-grade technique was infinitely close to the power of a top-tier orange-grade technique. Most importantly, there was also Lin Chen's instant light split shadows talent. Now that he had 5 talent points, it was enough for him to use the instant light split shadow talent in every move. Yu Tianwei sucked in a cold breath. That day when we fought, he only had 160 saint point. Judging from his aura, he was only at the peak of the nascent star realm. When you break my sword, you still need to use that strange golden armor. Now, he had actually reached the level of a Saint King? How many months had it been? If he was given a few more years, wouldn't he enter the reincarnation saint realm and become a quasi-god? This level of combat power is ridiculous. Who was the one who said that this brat is trash if he doesn't use that mysterious armor? Is he King trash? The information is wrong. Be careful of him. The assassins went up to meet the enemy head-on, each displaying their unique skills. The holy power transformed into a spear. Lin Chen rode on the heavenly light and soared into the sky. Clang! With a dragon's roar, the spear shot out like a dragon. It flashed at lightning speed and brushed past the top of a black-clothed assassin like a bolt of red lightning. The assassin was shocked. He changed his footwork and stepped on astral energy. Thousands of afterimages appeared as he retreated several thousand feet. The spear light brushed past his cloak, revealing a face full of scars. He had narrowly avoided the attack. The black-clothed assassin said in shock, "Top orange tier spear technique? Heaven chasing." This was the first time this top orange tier battle technique had shown its power. With his cultivation of half a step into the mid-stage of the 4th tier of the divine realm, this brat could force him to retreat with a spear technique. It must be a top orange tier battle technique. Lin Chen, who was fighting with all his strength, didn't say much. He held the holy spear in his hand, stepped on the air, and flicked it repeatedly. His first move was a killing move. His opponent wasn't an easy opponent like the 2nd or 3rd tier of the divine realm. He was a real 4th tier divine realm expert. Using a top orange tier spear technique right from the start. You're a ruthless brat. I'll give you a slash as well. Divine light flashed in the air. The black-clothed assassin held the saber engraved with blood-colored talismans in his hand and slashed horizontally. Clang! The tip of the spear turned and suddenly flicked upward. When the saber was blocked, Lin Chun held the spear and smashed it down furiously. Terrifying holy power surged like a heavenly dragon descending. The black-clothed assassin instinctively used his movement technique. Bright starlight shone under his feet as he retreated in a flash. Almost at the same time that his opponent retreated, Lin Chun once again used Chasing Heaven to stab forward. Heaven Chasing focused on explosiveness and instantaneous movement. Extreme speed coupled with an attack condensed from extreme sharpness, the flashing red lightning pierced through the air. The black-clothed assassin couldn't retreat in time. He raised his saber and slashed out a blood-colored demonic dragon. The saber aura covered the sky and pounced toward Ling Yun. Boom! Clang! Lin Chun stepped on cloud shadows and flew into the sky. He was about to follow up his victory and attack when he suddenly stopped and narrowed his eyes. When the saber aura demonic dragon was pierced by the spear, it exploded into countless saber aura vortexes. Lin Chun looked at the saber aura vortexes and said with a frown, "What a sinister saber technique! What a strange saber technique!" When the saber technique was broken, it actually carried a large number of saber aura vortexes that spread out like a tornado. Once the opponent broke the technique and rashly followed up with another attack, they would suddenly be trapped in the saber aura vortexes and be minced into pieces. They would instantly go from being on the offensive to being on the defensive. If Lin Chun's primordial spirit wasn't extremely strong and didn't sense that something was wrong with the saber aura demonic dragon in advance, he would have been minced into it. Good lad, your reaction is quite fast. There are many 3rd and 4th stage Divine Realm experts who died under my Blood Dragon 9 burial. You're the first person who saw through this saber technique in advance. The black-clothed assassin held his saber and stepped into the air. His entire body was covered in saber aura. An unprecedented look of admiration appeared on his scarred face. As expected of the person that young Master Qian Ling wanted. You have some backbone. These black-clothed assassins were all ruthless characters. Every one of them was a 4th stage Divine Realm expert, a true supreme expert. They were all top-notch assassins who specialized in killing gods. This battle was Lin Chun's first battle after stepping into the Saint King realm. Lin Chun was confident but definitely not conceited. Even if the sacred power of a Saint King was comparable to that of an early-stage 4th stage Divine Realm expert, combat power was combat power, and actual combat was actual combat. They were two different things. Other than the powerful cultivation realm, the cultivation techniques, battle experience, and battle tactics grasped by a 4th stage Divine Realm expert far surpassed that of a 3rd stage Divine Realm expert. Although he blocked the spear just now, the moment I hit him, the heaven-chasing seal had already been engraved. Next, I just have to use all my strength to break through this bastard. Rumble. Lin Chun's aura fluctuated, and the wind and clouds surged. His domineering aura surged as he laughed evilly. You want to take my life, Lin Chun? I don't know if you have the appetite to take it. Clang. Lin Chun raised his spear and pierced through the air. The flashing red lightning was extinguished in a flash, and the black-clothed assassin's pupils constricted. His spear is even faster now. The black-clothed assassin slashed rapidly with his saber, and layers of saber aura as majestic as an evil dragon slashed down. Lin Chun stepped on the clouds and flew through the sky. His spear was fiercer than the last, and his speed became faster and faster. The two of them instantly engaged in battle. In stark contrast to the other clones, Lin Chun's main body's attacks became fiercer and fiercer. If Lin Chun hadn't broken through to the Saint King realm in the Alchemist Guild's main selection, his life would have been in danger if he had been surrounded by this team 3 months ago. 8 4th stage Divine Realm experts and 2 heaven-grade assassins who had mastered the laws of nature. Even the heavily injured Azura King in the celestial Qilin plane could be completely annihilated. Lin Chun, who had yet to become a Saint King, couldn't kill all of them even if he had the golden battle god set. Lin Chen's main body and 6 clones were facing the 8 black-clothed assassins head-on, and they actually didn't fall into a disadvantageous position for a while. This scared Yu Tianwei so much that he turned pale. That day at Bloodfox Mountain, he was far from having this kind of strength. The black-clothed assassin who was engaged in a fierce battle with Lin Chen couldn't help but growl. Gu Lingtian, what are you still King hesitating for? Did you refine your brain to the point of blindness when refining pills? Hurry up and help. Chapter 1947. Yu Tianwei had a lingering fear. Lin Chen, a three-dimensional human. What kind of opportunity did he have to reach such a level? She could accept it if he was in the divine realm. But a holy king? Reaching the 4th level of the divine realm? What did he go through in the few months after Bloodfox Mountain to have such combat power? The muscular man in black armor said, Sir Gu Lingtian, Gu Lingtian was still hesitating. In the Alchemist Guild, a private fight between elders had to be submitted to the guild. It was taboo for elders to ambush each other. It went against the guild's principles and would definitely be removed from the guild. If he attacked Lin Chen, Qin Shuangjue would be there as a witness. Even if the force behind him could protect him, he wouldn't be able to keep his title as an elder. I don't want the title of an elder. Gu Lingtian's eyes were fierce. I want Lin Chen's head and secrets. Why should I give him Qianling? He's just a stupid dog. Do you really think I'm a pushover? You want me to be your assistant? You too. Gu Lingtian looked at the two. Xue Jianming from the Azure God sect is also here. Go and complete your mission. Gu Lingtian stomped on the ground. His movement technique was like a dragon soaring into the sky. The distorted space-time trembled violently as he sped towards Lin Chen. Seeing their master attacking, the red-dressed lady and the muscular man in black armor turned into 2 beams of divine light and rushed toward Xue Jianming. Roar! 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 The dragon roared. Lin Chen's dragon released the Taishi divine light to protect Shangguan Yun. It soared into the sky and slashed out with its claw. The heavenly claw, which was shining with green divine light, split into 5 parts. It twisted violently under the distorted space, and then suddenly seemed to stop. Green Destiny Sword Prison. Xue Jianming released his sword intent and slashed out a boundless sword realm. Sword steels stood in the surroundings, shooting out silk-like sword lights that crisscrossed and covered the entire sky. You're just at the 2nd level of the divine realm. Kid, I didn't extort you last time. This time, I'll use your life to pay for it. The black-armored man slashed out with his axe, cutting off Xue Jianming's sword intent. The woman in red waved her hand. Divine power burned, and a sea of fire descended. It condensed into a giant flaming palm that struck forward. Bang! The lady in red was struck by the divine dragon's heavenly claw. Blood flowed from the corner of her lips as she said in disbelief, Time travel? The ability of the ancient Aeon dragon. Gritting her teeth, the woman in red seemed to have used some kind of secret technique. A fire seal burned between her brows, and her divine power rose rapidly. On the other side, the brawny man in black armor was suppressing Xue Jianming. Although Xue Jianming was a genius, he was losing in terms of age and accumulation. The brawny man in black armor was 1 stage higher than him, and he was relying on his sword intent and powerful primordial spirit to hold on. You're not qualified to fight me. The black-armored brawny man laughed sinisterly. If he's not enough, am I enough? A cold and murderous voice reverberated. Boom! A terrifying aura descended behind the brawny man in black armor, causing him to break out in cold sweat. A soft, jade-like hand that seemed to have no bones appeared like a ghost. Then, it smashed towards the brawny man in black armor. The hair-raising sense of crisis made him subconsciously block with his giant axe behind him. Clang! Bang! Bang! The brawny man in black armor was sent flying by the palm. He fell to the ground and smashed a huge pit in the nearby gorge. A beautiful figure with an awe-inspiring aura floated in the air like a fairy. She was cold and beautiful. Shangguan Yun. There were colorful phoenix phantoms around her, and phoenix cries reverberated in the sky. Realm breakthrough. Shangguan Yun's mental cultivation technique was completely cultivated and completed the transformation. The mental cultivation technique and the divine phoenix feather that she obtained merged into one. Her strength was perfectly unsealed and she advanced. The mental cultivation technique that she obtained by chance in the Realm C needed to be exchanged with the Shangguan family's ancestral mental cultivation technique. She also needed to merge with the primordial era's divine phoenix feather to reach perfection. During the exchange of mental cultivation techniques, her strength was extremely limited. That was why Shangguan Yun temporarily returned to the Shangguan family from the Realm C. Her originally sealed perfected Level 3 Divine Realm cultivation actually crossed the half-step Level 4 Divine Realm boundary and stepped into early-stage Level 4 Divine Realm. Shui Jiaming cupped his fists and said, "Miss Shangguan, thank you for your help." Shui Jiaming's eyes were filled with shock. Brother Lin Chen was actually able to help her break through to a whole new realm in such a short period of time. Such generosity was unheard of. Master once warned me that I should be loyal when doing things outside. How capable I am is how much I eat. If I meet a benefactor, I must hug his thigh tightly. Master, I understand now. Brother Lin Chen is my benefactor. Shui Jiaming clenched his fist. Shangguan Yun said, "Let's fight together. Be careful of your surroundings." Turning her gaze, Shangguan Yun looked in Yu Tianwei's direction valiantly. Boom! Piak! Shangguan Yun raised her hand and her 5 fingers destroyed the divine phoenix phantoms that suppressed the god. Yu Tianwei, who was high in the sky, was slapped down. Yu Tianwei spat out blood as he fell, and there was even a palm print on his cheek. Shangguan Yun's gaze was cold as she said, "You think you can do whatever you want after sleeping with a man. You're high and mighty all day long. If I don't slap you a few times, you'll really think that the entire world is your mother and that everyone has to pamper you." After stabilizing his body, Yu Tianwei covered his face and trembled in anger. "You! What are you shouting for?" Shangguan Yun interrupted him and said coldly, "I've killed countless people like you in the Realm C. If not for the divine power that your man's Yangtze planted in your body to protect you, would you still be able to speak now? If you know what's good for you, stand aside." The corner of Shui Jiaming's mouth twitched. This sister was too strong. Brother Lin Chen was really ferocious to be able to make such a woman follow him loyally. On the other side, when Lin Chen and the black-clothed assassin's battle reached its climax, there was a clang. The battle spear formed by Lin Chen's divine power was cut in half by the other party's saber. With the weapon in his hand destroyed, a large portion of his divine power was lost. Lin Chen retreated with a slight frown. As expected, although his divine power was as strong as early-stage Tier 4 Divine Realm, if the opponent had a divine weapon, the weapon formed by his divine power would be useless. A divine weapon was indeed a great boost to a true god's combat power. However, Lin Chen couldn't use the divine weapon for the time being. It was very simple. A divine weapon required the divine power of a true god to control. No matter how strong his divine power was, it was still at the saint stage and he couldn't unleash the true power of the divine weapon. I still have to become a true god. If I don't become a true god, no matter how strong my divine power is, I can't win against the opponent. Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. A pitch-black divine power appeared in his palms as the energy of the divine spark shard began to stir. All of a sudden, a surge of murderous intent assaulted towards Lin Chen. The black-clothed assassin understood and immediately chased after Lin Chen, trying to pincer him. Lin Chen raised his eyebrows. Gu Lingtian? That mad dog still pounced over in the end. However, it came at the right time. Almost at the same time that the black-robed assassin and Gu Ling Tian attacked Lin Chen from the front and back, Lin Chen slammed his palms across the void. His pitch-black, boundless godly power erupted and spread out rapidly. Host activated Divine Spark Shard, consuming 50 divine heavenly Tao points. Heaven and earth rumbled as a pitch-black divine power barrier spread out and enveloped the two of them. Boom, boom, boom. The space under the spacetime warp began to distort layer by layer. The divine spark shard that could suppress ghosts and gods pressed down heavily, causing the two of them to stop moving. The black-clothed assassin was shocked. This kid actually had such a trump card? Why didn't Gu Lingtian tell them in advance? Could it be this guy had other intentions? Chapter 1948. Lin Chen's divine wings, which were shining with a green divine light, spread open. Divine wind swirled around him as he stepped on a green rainbow-like whirlwind, and his figure instantly disappeared. Gu Lingtian's pupils shrank. His divine soul could sense that a divine fist wrapped in green wind was coming at his face at a speed that could tear through the void. My dog-beating fist technique specializes in beating up mad dogs. I'll give you 10,000 punches first, then 10,000 more. However, what really surprised Gu Lingtian was that Lin Chen's speed had increased again. He had already seen this pitch-black barrier in the battle with the Azura King once. Gu Lingtian's hands formed seals, and his divine soul soared into the sky, turning into a sharp sword that pierced through the god-summoning barrier that was binding him. 3,000 Great Tao, Earth Laws of Nature, Earth Divine Power, return. Following that, he stomped his feet in the void, and the earth rumbled. The boundless earth veins seemed to respond to his call, and an extraordinary power of law surged into his body. A set of indestructible profound yellow divine armor appeared all over his body. Chi. Bang. 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 The air in the sky was stirred up by the impact, and there were crazy explosions. Even the floating light was shattered. Every punch exploded with 550 desolation power. Lin Chen's fists swung rapidly, and he actually hit Gu Lingtian 10,000 times in a breath's time. The flashing fist shadows were like a violent storm, and in an instant, they bombarded the profound yellow divine armor on Gu Lingtian's body. However, other than retreating a dozen steps, Gu Lingtian was actually unscathed? Rip. Lin Chen's speed did not decrease, and he whipped his leg across the air to intercept. Gu Lingtian's reaction was very fast. He turned around and slammed his palm to the other side of the void. His divine soul was like a koan pring spreading its wings, rolling over. Bang! Lin Chen was repelled by his divine soul, and with a flap of his wind god wings, he retreated in advance and was not affected by the divine soul attack. Stepping on the divine wind, Lin Chen said in surprise, "This tortoise shell is so hard?" Gu Lingtian sneered. Lin Chen, with my cultivation base at the perfect fourth heaven, my control over the law of earth of the 5 elements, and my godly soul realm, you want to break through my defense with just the body of a saint ruler? Gu Lingtian's control of laws and possession of a divine soul far surpassed ordinary 4th-level true gods. Lin Chen had a faint smile on his face. "Are you very proud of yourself?" Gu Lingtian. The black-robed assassin flashed over and questioned, "Why didn't you tell the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion about this lad's methods?" Noisy. Gu Lingtian struck out with his palm. The enormous divine soul silhouette erupted with a mighty force that could destroy the heavens and shake the earth. With a single strike, the assassin in black vomited a mouthful of blood. The assassin covered his wound and retreated with a cold expression. "Gu Lingtian? Damn it, there's something wrong with this guy. To attack my Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion, are you trying to provoke young Master Qianling?" The Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion's assassins shouted coldly. Gu Lingtian ignored the questioning around him and said coldly, "Lin Chen, bring out your spear. I know you have a golden battle spear. Against my laws, you have no other choice. Gu Lingtian looked arrogant and despotic, but he was actually extremely cautious. No matter what, Lin Chen was someone who had killed the Azura King. He had been provoking Lin Chen all this while so that he could let Lin Chen use his trump card earlier. Is that so? I want to see how hard your tortoise shell is. Lin Chen's eyes revealed a murderous glint. Divine Dragon Possession. Lin Chen waved his hand. The divine dragon that roamed the sky transformed into a stream of light and shot toward Lin Chen, fusing into his body. His pure strength instantly soared to the same level as the divine dragon's desolate power. Lin Chen laughed heartily. You want to have a taste of my spear? Have a taste of my elephant first. Rumble. As though all of Lin Chen's blood chi was burning, he pushed his hands forward, and snow-white elephant tusks appeared out of thin air. An unparalleled divine elephant trampled on the wind and clouds. Like rivers flowing, the stars shifted, and the elephant's trunk swept up. It emitted a domineering aura that could overturn the heavens as it charged out from Lin Chen's palm. Bang! 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 Space-time shook as the divine elephant stomped over and let out a long roar. The elephant's roar was soul-stirring, shaking the heavens and earth, and shattering mountains and rivers. The surrounding space-time shook violently from the roar, and cracks instantly appeared in the shaking space. The ground beneath the divine elephant's feet exploded, creating a shocking chasm. The earth caved in and mountains collapsed. The divine elephant's divine strength penetrated deep into the ground despite being high up in the sky. Its roar turned into sound waves that pushed mountains and rivers. When it stomped over, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. SSS. Many experts sucked in a breath of cold air. This divine elephant's pure strength was simply shocking to the true gods. This time, Lin Chen used 260 desolate power to activate the divine elephant godhead. The divine elephant he summoned was not inferior to the one he used against the Azura King. It was even superior. Divine Soul Fusion. Gu Lingtian's divine soul stood above his head and transformed into his appearance. His hands formed seals, and his divine soul released a sharp divine soul sound wave that collided with the divine elephant's roar. The terrifying divine soul power was not inferior to the power of laws, and it directly slowed down the divine elephant's movements. It was not over yet. Lin Chen, I know your killer moves very well. Even if I become a sacred king, I can still suppress you. Gu Lingtian suddenly shouted coldly. He clenched his fists, and a golden spear with a dazzling yellow divine light appeared. It was actually a divine artifact. Divine Earth Spear. Gu Lingtian stepped into the air. The earth rumbled, and the power of laws gathered on the divine spear. A faint blood-red glow appeared on the tip of the spear, and it was so sharp that it pierced toward the divine elephant and Lin Chen. The power of this attack was earth-shattering, and it forced the two black-clothed assassins to retreat from the battle with Lin Chen's clone. Chi. Rip. Lin Chen's vast divine elephant was actually pierced through by this spear, and it was split into two. It was a top-grade orange-grade battle technique. Not only did it have the power of laws, but it also had the sharpness of a divine artifact. With the power of a perfected fourth-stage divine realm expert, Gu Lingtian's foundation as a genius nurtured by an ancient powerhouse was evident. Suddenly, when the divine elephant was pierced, the divine spear's sharp blade suddenly stopped in mid-air. Bam! A fierce palm print came from across the air and blasted Gu Lingtian's spear away. Gu Lingtian shouted coldly, "Who are you trying to be mysterious? Come out." Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. "There's another expert?" In the void between Lin Chen and Gu Lingtian, a wisp of ghost-like flame burned, and an old figure appeared. "Haha! Young Master Qian Ling really has great foresight. You, Gu Lingtian, are indeed not the type to listen to orders." The hoarse voice was like fingers scratching the wall. The skinny, white-haired old man in linen clothes chuckled. Gu Lingtian couldn't help but grip the divine spear tightly. Shang Guanyun, who was in the middle of the battle, turned her eyes, and a hint of seriousness appeared between her brows. This old monster was a real old monster. 5th stage divine realm. The black-cloved assassin injured by Gu Lingtian shouted, "Old man, don't let that kid off." Gu Lingtian quietly crushed a spatial jade slip. The skinny old man smiled coldly. "Don't waste your time. The space here is sealed by my great development technique. You can't call anyone here." Gu Lingtian said, "You want to snatch my prey?" The skinny old man said, "You're the one who wants to snatch young Master Qianling's prey. Wait a minute, don't be in a hurry to use the Russian dolls." At that moment, Lin Chen interrupted the two of them. Lin Chen looked at the skinny old man expectantly and asked, "Old man, did you come alone? Are there more?" Everyone was stunned. The skinny old man froze. "No, damn it, you think it's too little?" The skinny old man was so angry that he laughed. "Why? Isn't it enough for me to deal with you alone?" Lin Chen said in all seriousness. "Too little, too little, too little. There should be more." Everyone. Chapter 1949. In the 5 continents of the divine world, outside Tianyi, the skinny old man was so angry that he laughed. Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers. Each generation is crazier than the last. A sage king dares to look down on me. Do you think the heavenly slaughter pavilion has too few people? Lin Chen opened his arms wide, laughing maniacally. Of course not. If more of you come, all of you will die. Buzz. Space rippled, and an orange-red talisman suddenly bloomed above Lin Chen's head. When it exploded, it merged with his body, and a unique divine power filled every inch of Lin Chen's flesh. Consumed 200 God-tier talent points to activate orange-grade talent. Godly Defiance. Entering Godly Defiance state. The higher the target's divinity, the more power the talent will gain. If every attack can break the target's defense, it will cause true damage to the target. Consumed 140 God-tier talent points to activate orange-grade talent. God Slayer. Entering God Slayer state. The more enemies there are, the stronger the talent's effect. Number of true gods who are hostile to the host. 14. Chi. 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 Waves of burning red light surged from Lin Chen's body. The saint power in his main body's saint points and Great One saint points suddenly surged. A total of 200 saint acupoints surged with holy energy, flowing back and forth, causing each and every saint acupoint to shine with a resplendent light. The saint power was reborn. This was the reincarnation saint realm. Lin Chen had entered the reincarnation saint realm. Rumble. There was a sonic boom, and a divine fist surrounded by divine wind blasted toward the skinny old man. His expression suddenly turned serious. Bam! The skinny old man raised his palm and blocked Lin Chen's instant kill punch. He took 4 steps back, his arm going numb, and his divine power collapsing. He immediately mobilized his divine power, and the law of water danced like a water dragon. He was about to counterattack Lin Chen. The divine wind under Lin Chen's feet turned, and he disappeared instantly. Everyone's expression changed. At this moment, among all the experts present, there was no one else who could accurately capture Lin Chen's figure. When Gu Lingtian sensed the killing intent, he instantly tightened his grip on his divine spear. The divine armor formed from the laws of the earth protected him completely, not leaving a single strand of hair exposed. Boom! A wisp of divine wind whistled past. Lin Chen actually made a feint. He did not plan to face Gu Lingtian. Bang! A shocking explosion reverberated, and the ground collapsed. The position of the injured black-clothed assassin suddenly exploded. Crack! A clear and melodious sound of bones being twisted reverberated in the air. When everyone focused their gazes once more, a silver-robed figure that was covered in azure wings and bathed in divine light held the head of an expert at the early stage of the fourth level of the divine realm in his hand. The pair of fierce gazes on his elegant face swept through every single expert present with surging battle intent and without the slightest hint of fear. Instant kill. The apex black-clothed assassins had been instantly killed by Lin Chen. Before he died, the black-clothed assassin's face was filled with disbelief. It was hard to imagine what kind of attack he had suffered before he died. With a flash of divine wind, Lin Chen's finger was like a shooting star, piercing through the black-clothed assassin's divine weapon. It turned into countless sets of essence attributes. Something's not right. This kid still has a killer move. Damn it, how many moves has he been hiding? While everyone was exclaiming, a lantern-like nine-colored star cluster floated above all of Lin Chen's clones' heads. Quick, retreat. Shang Guanyun, who was far away, reacted quickly and brought Xue Jianming with her as she retreated rapidly. Lin Chen said sternly, explode. All of the clones' saint power were sucked dry, and instant light split shadow annihilation. Star explosion was instantly unleashed. Boom. Heaven and earth trembled, and a nine-colored energy storm with dazzling stars swept across the sky. The terrifying apocalyptic storm swept across everywhere, filling every inch of space in the sky. With Lin Chen's clone's current cultivation base, using annihilation, star explosion after sucking out all of his saint power and stacking it with instant light split shadow technique was completely an apocalyptic incarnation. If one was swept into it, even an early-stage fourth-stage divine realm expert would find it difficult to escape unscathed. The sealed space was on the verge of collapse. Gu Lingtian kept retreating, while the skinny old man charged toward Lin Chen at lightning speed. The ghostly claw formed from the law of water, which was surging with a deathly aura like the yellow springs, came crashing down, wanting to forcefully suppress Lin Chen. Chi. Rip. Lin Chen stepped on the divine wind and shifted as if he was tearing through space and time. He avoided the skinny old man's ghost-suppressing claw and charged into the storm. When a black-clothed assassin sensed the killing intent, he wanted to retreat, but it was already too late. Lin Chen smashed down with his fist, shattering the top of his head. Lin Chen clenched his fist in the air like a thunderbolt. The next moment, he appeared behind the second assassin like a ghost. He crushed his shoulder and punched through his divine body, causing him to spit out blood and stare with wide eyes. Lin Chen flapped his divine wings continuously, and the divine wind spun and flashed repeatedly. Almost no one could clearly see Lin Chen's movements. Host is using the Wind God 3-piece set at full power. Maximum increase in all attributes at present, 140 times. Charging is accelerating consumption. Chi, 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 bang, bang, bang. Terrifying sonic booms and explosions filled the chaotic energy storm. The skinny old man and the two heaven-rank assassins' expressions changed slightly. Oh no! This kid's speed is too strange. We've been tricked by his clones. When the storm of the annihilation star explosion dissipated, a bloody mist floated in the sky. Gu Lingtian's mouth twitched slightly. The 8 assassins from the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion were all dead. They were all fourth-stage Divine Realm experts. None of them survived. The divine wind swirled with green light again, and Lin Chen suddenly charged toward Gu Lingtian. Star Continent, Divine Wilderness Star Field, Primordial Miracle. The divine light in the miracle shone on the surrounding dilapidated walls, and an ancient aura filled every corner. A stone door stood between heaven and earth. Today, countless peerless geniuses had arrived. They were all waiting for the opening of the buried god temple. Young Master Qian Ling crossed his arms and stood at the edge of the cliff. Behind him was a group of true god experts, and their auras were overwhelming. He looked straight ahead as if he was waiting for something. However, it was not only the human race that came. boom. Strong winds swept, and time and space trembled. 9 divine phoenixes flew across the sky, looking down on all living beings. They exchanged glances with the human experts, and their arrogance was not concealed at all. Hundreds of dragons covered the sky. Divine dragons soared in the sky, controlling wind, rain, thunder, and lightning. As they breathed in and out, it was as if they had returned to the golden age of the dragon race. Bang! 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 The ground shook, and a group of Asuras appeared. They waved their 4 arms and had green faces and fangs. The Asura king in the lead was a ghost with 3 heads and 6 arms. All of them were top-notch experts. This was the inner region of the divine wilderness starfield. None of the experts who could reach here were weak. Suddenly, a meteor flew across the sky, and its aura was so strong that it alarmed all the experts of the various races. While all the experts were watching, the meteor landed in the human camp. The divine light disappeared, and a beautiful figure appeared. The experts of the other races might not know, but the geniuses of the human race were all shocked. The peerless demon empress, Yi Qingwu. They did not expect that she would come to the buried god temple this time. At this moment, Yi Qingwu flew toward the Qian family camp. Young Master Qian Ling raised his eyebrows and smiled playfully. The peerless demon empress is here. Interesting. The surrounding true gods immediately flattered him. It seems like she already knows who is the most outstanding man in Star Continent. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.